Vol 2, Chapter 864, Reigniting the War. As February draws to a close, the fleeting peace in the Milky Way is shattered, giving way to the resurgence of war. This time, the conflict is more intense and widespread, threatening to engulf all life in the galaxy. Contrary to expectations, it is the Galactic Republic that initiates the hostilities. In the year 21 BBY, on February 23rd, the main fleet of the Galactic Republic's 20th Army, led by Master Sha Kong, forcefully enters the Jag-Dur galaxy, marking the beginning of the battle for Jag-Dur. The fleet, under the command of Master Sha Kong, boasts an impressive arsenal: 18 Chariot-class battlecruisers, 15 Dreadnought-class heavy cruisers from the Blade Fleet, 10 Aquitens-class light cruisers, and 5 Cheers-class fighter assault landing ships. Legion Governor Octavian Grant heads to the planet Jizo to oversee operations. The Jaeger-Dur system is unique, with 3 stars orbiting a single planet, Jaeger-Dur, which is further orbited by 3 erratic moons due to the complex gravitational forces at play. Despite these challenging conditions, the Jiwen civilization has thrived on Jaeger-Dur, a testament to their resilience and a marvel in the field of astronomy. The planet's hostile environment has historically deterred invaders, providing a natural defense for its inhabitants. To bolster the Jiwen's defenses, Lieutenant General Ling Liang and Adjutant Colonel Lin Nanyi from the Fourth Civilization Army arrive in Dodecapolis, the capital of Jaeger-Dur, as military advisors. The Jiwen people have been preparing for war, supported by investments from Damask Holding Group, led by Hago Damask II. This partnership has significantly advanced the Jiwen's industrial capabilities, increasing their production capacity 5-fold over the past decade. Recognizing the strategic importance of the Titan battleship, Tang Xiao generously shares the blueprints and technology for the Aganev-class interstellar base with the Jiwen. 2 Aganev-class interstellar bases now stand guard near Jaeger-Dur. The first, measuring 12,000 meters in length, was built with earlier technology, while the second, a more advanced model, spans 20,000 meters. Powered by colossal supermatter reactors, these bases are virtually impregnable. Despite the strain on their mobile fleet, the Fourth Civilization reinforces the Jiwen with 5 Cole-class battlecruisers and 5 Martha-class guided missile heavy cruisers. The Martha-class cruisers, known for their devastating firepower, play a crucial role in the planet's defense. The Givings, native to the system, contribute 20 Cole-class battlecruisers to form a defensive perimeter around Jaeger-Dur, thwarting any attempts by the Republic fleet to land on the planet. Meanwhile, the Grand People from the planet Golden Rock dispatch 2 Rookie Hook-class battleships and an army of 200,000 Marines previously engaged with the Blade Fleet to support the Jiwen. This reinforcement bolsters the Jiwen's defenses, especially in the satellite's atmospheric inner area. On February 34th, Master Sha Kong leads the Republic fleet in a preliminary assault on Jaeger-Dur, taking advantage of a moment when the gravitational forces of the 3 stars are relatively stable. Amidst the chaos of interstellar conflict, the situation in the Jag-Dur system had become a focal point of tension. The Galactic Republic's fleet, under the command of a determined leader, found itself in a precarious position as it faced off against 2 formidable Aganev-class interstellar bases. Forced into a strategic withdrawal, the fleet adopted a long-range artillery stance, hoping to whittle down the starbase's defenses through attrition. However, General Ling Ling, overseeing the defense of the bases, remained unfazed by this tactic. She understood that the Aganev class was designed to withstand such levels of engagement. Her primary concern had been the possibility of a direct assault by the Republic fleet, but it appeared that for the moment, such a strategy was not in their plans. Despite this, Ling Liang was aware that while her forces were currently superior, they were finite, and the Republic's reinforcements would only grow over time. Simultaneously, as the conflict in Jag-Dur escalated, the Confederation of Independent Systems launched a bold offensive across the Central Star region. On February 35th, General Grievous spearheaded an attack on the planet Antar, marking the beginning of a series of coordinated strikes. Admiral Trench and the fleet of the Enterprise Alliance targeted the planet Kalinda, while additional battles erupted on Rylos, Zavala, and Ariel. This all-out assault by the Confederation aimed to overwhelm the Galactic Republic, which found itself stretched thin across multiple fronts. Jedi Knights led the Republic's fleets, but they faced daunting odds, with each battlefield presenting a dire situation. Requests for assistance poured into the Republic's Supreme Strategic Command, each one a testament to the desperate circumstances faced by their forces. However, the Republic's Strategic Command had a different plan in mind. Instead of dispersing their forces to reinforce the beleaguered planets, they focused on consolidating their strength on Eliadu, the capital of the 18th Army. Intelligence reports indicated that Severance Tan, a renowned general from the planet Dawn, was personally overseeing the battle on Glenson Planet. Under her command were 178 Dreadnought-class heavy cruisers, currently undergoing refurbishment. Once ready, these formidable vessels would undoubtedly be directed towards Eliadu, signaling a significant escalation in the conflict. The Lundily Interstellar Dynamics Company, eager to collaborate with Dawn Planet, found itself caught between its desire for partnership and the pressures exerted by the Republic Congress. Consequently, the delivery of parts for the Dreadnought-class heavy cruisers was delayed by a month. Despite the relative calm on Eliadu compared to other hotspots, the planet was bracing for what could be one of the galaxy's most decisive confrontations. The 18th Army had amassed an impressive fleet, including 40 warships exceeding 1,000 meters in length, such as the Chaser-class battlecruisers, readying for the inevitable clash. As wars raged across the galaxy, a seemingly serene planet, Harlan Kar, emerged from its harsh winter. Lacking the vast fleets seen elsewhere, the battles here were no less fierce, hinting at the planet's strategic importance and the brutal nature of the conflicts that awaited. Vol 2, Chapter 865, Blood Feud. Help, help, help. A woman, drenched in blood, stumbled toward me, cradling a baby in her arms. She clutched at my sleeve, her voice breaking as she pleaded, "Help me, please, help my son." Before I could react, a blade of light streaked from behind her, carving a gruesome wound from her shoulder to her chest. Blood, thick and unnaturally black, splattered over me. Despite being mortally wounded, with her body nearly severed in half, she mustered her remaining strength to lift the baby toward me. "Protect him. You must protect this baby," she gasped. My heart raced, and the principles I had been taught since childhood echoed in my mind. The creed of the Jedi Knight was clear: protect the innocent. It was not just a duty, it was an obligation. With my lightsaber in hand, its yellow glow seemed to pierce the icy air around us. Ahead, dark figures wielding sharp blades moved with eerie grace, their forms indistinct. Were they human, or something else entirely? Their eyes gleamed with a bloodthirsty malice, their laughter mocking as they advanced from all directions. They had murdered the woman, and now they sought to kill the baby, and me. My lightsaber, a symbol of my beliefs, flashed as I swung it. One assailant fell, cleaved in two, but more took its place. Again and again I fought, each swing felling another shadow. Yet, for every one I cut down, it seemed another arose. In a horrifying twist, one shadow I split in half morphed into two new ones. Desperation took hold. How many had I slain? The ground beneath my feet felt soft, a macabre carpet of corpses. Yet, amidst this carnage, I had safeguarded the baby. I had upheld my beliefs. "Return my son," the woman's voice, now a shrill scream, pierced the chaos. Impossibly, she stood, her body gruesomely divided, reaching for me with fingers dripping black blood. "Give me back my son." Your son. Yes, I had protected him, hadn't I? Amidst the slaughter, I had kept him safe. I reached to hand the baby back to her, but horror gripped me. In my arms lay not a child, but a skeleton. "You killed my son! You killed me!" The accusations multiplied as the shadows at my feet rose, revealing themselves not as monsters, but as civilians, innocents I had slain in my frenzy. "No," I awoke with a start, the nightmare receding, as I found myself staring at the ceiling of my makeshift shelter, a layer of withered grass above me. My breath formed a white mist in the cold air. The planet Harinkar, with its volatile crust and numerous volcanoes spewing toxic gases, was a forbidding place. Yet, life persisted in the high mountains, where the air was clear of the poisonous fumes that blanketed the lower lands. Here, a brutal civil war raged between the native Karunai and the foreign smugglers, the Balawai, a conflict that had endured for over 3 decades. Last year, the situation escalated when the Balawai allied themselves with the Confederation of Independent Systems, prompting the Galactic Republic to send reinforcements, myself and my two apprentices, Luna Meng and Luna Huan. As winter's grip loosened, the snow and ice that had brought a temporary halt to the violence began to melt, heralding the onset of another season of bloodshed. Gathering my thoughts, I rose from my bed and made my way to the pool to wash away the remnants of the nightmare, determined to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Depa Balaba gazed at her reflection in the ice floes scattered across the water, observing her haggard face amidst the gentle ripples. The icy water splashed against her face, jolting her awake. She donned her coarse cloth cloak and stepped outside, only to halt in her tracks at the village square. Something was amiss. The entire village had gathered, their faces etched with concern. The Ark Guards, armed with power shields, had encircled the house of their leader, Karl Vasto, their expressions grim and determined. Depa Balaba's brow furrowed in confusion. How could she have been unaware of such a significant commotion? Could it be that the dire Eam that had plagued her for months had somehow interfered with her connection to the Force? As Depa Balaba approached, the Ark Guards parted ways, acknowledging her with respectful nods. In recent times, the Jedi Master had proven her mettle, subduing these rebellious warriors with her formidable strength. It was her power, not kindness or virtue, that had earned their respect. A pungent smell of blood reached her nostrils, causing her to frown. Looking ahead, she spotted a man, bloodied and bound to a tree with barbed wire. Beside him lay a figure shrouded in coarse cloth. Karl Vasto, the leader of the Kurunai, stood imposingly before her, his face contorted with rage. "Balawai, ruined village, 70 people," he said, his voice heavy with anger. "The village of 70 people was destroyed? Are there any survivors?" Depa Balaba asked, her heart pounding. Karl Vasto gestured towards the figure on the ground. Approaching cautiously, Depa Balaba lifted the blood-stained sackcloth, and the sight that met her eyes left her speechless. Before her lay a person, mutilated beyond recognition. Their limbs were missing, and their body was covered in horrific wounds. Where their eyes should have been, there were only empty sockets. Their nose and ears were gone. Their lips had been severed, and every tooth had been violently extracted. The sight was ghastly. Only the faint rise and fall of the chest indicated that this person was still clinging to life. A surge of nameless anger welled up inside Depa Balaba. She stood abruptly, her voice booming with a force that caused the snow and ice to fall from the surrounding trees. "Who did this?" Karl Vasto pointed to the man tied to the tree. "I caught one," he said, before squatting down in front of the mutilated victim. With a dagger in hand, he lightly touched the victim's forehead, his voice fierce, blood-feud. Without hesitation, he plunged the dagger into the victim's heart. Depa Balaba approached the captured Balawai, her face pale with fury. "How could you do this?" she demanded, her body trembling with rage. The man, terrified, pleaded for his life. It wasn't me. Please help me. Are you a Jedi? Please help me." Karl Vasto, unfazed, picked up his massive power shield and approached the captive. "Blood feud," he repeated solemnly. The gravity of the situation weighed heavily on Depa Balaba. She realized that justice needed to be served, but it had to be done with a clear understanding of the truth. The path of vengeance could only lead to more suffering. She needed to find a way to heal the wounds of the village and bring peace back to the troubled land. Vol 2, Chapter 66, Anger and Fear. Karl Vasto stepped forward, his power shield raised. With a swift motion, he brought it down, its sharp edge slicing through the air and severing the captive's arm. The captive's screams pierced the silence. "Ah! Help me! Help! You're a Jedi Knight! Help me!" His voice was filled with agony and despair. Without hesitation, Karl Vasto swung his shield again. This time, it struck one of the captive's calves, breaking it instantly. The captive's screams grew even more shrill. "Jedi Knight, save me! Please save me!" Depa Balaba, witnessing this brutality, struggled internally. Finally, with a hardened expression, she shouted, "Enough!" In a flash, her yellow lightsaber swung, and the captive's head was swiftly separated from his body. The headless corpse slumped down, half dangling on the barbed wire. "Blood feud," Karl Vasto muttered, shaking his head in disapproval, clearly dissatisfied that the man's death had been too merciful. I'm going after the Balavice who slaughtered the village, Depa Balaba declared, her voice firm. Let's go together, Karl Vasto suggested. It's enough for me to go alone. If you go, they won't just kill you, they'll kill us all, Karl Vasto warned, gesturing towards the lifeless body of the survivor. This won't happen, Depa Balaba assured him. She then stood, leaped 5 or 6 meters into the air, lightly touched a branch with her toes, and propelled herself upward. With a few more leaps, she disappeared into the jungle. Harnessing her powerful force abilities, she felt its guidance and set off in a determined direction. Moving with light, swift steps, she navigated through the jungle faster than a hovercar, a blur to any onlooker. After nearly 2 hours of pursuit, Depa Balaba finally located her target at the jungle's edge. A group of more than 20 individuals was gathered, a bonfire crackling among them as they set up portable tents for the night. 2 hover trucks were parked nearby, with heavy blaster machine guns mounted on them. Depa Balaba approached quietly, not wanting to alert them. She was curious about their conversation. The group was diverse, consisting of humans, Rhodians, and weak ones, resembling the smuggling gangs found across the galaxy. However, on the planet Harankar, these smugglers were known to the indigenous Krunai people as the Balavice. Each member of the group was fully armed, donned in winter combat uniforms equipped with thermostats, a product of the Enterprise Alliance, separatist gear beyond the reach of ordinary smugglers. Depa Balaba seethed with anger. The premature start of hostilities in February left the technologically inferior Krunai people vulnerable in the cold winter, with little chance of resistance. It was no surprise that Karl Vasto had managed to capture only one of them. She overheard the smugglers boasting about their recent plunder. This time it went smoothly. Ha ha! The separatist gear is incredibly effective. It's minus 40 degrees, and I'm still feeling warm, laughed a Rhodian, showing the temperature on his personal terminal to the others. Of course. Have you seen how much this winter gear is worth? A set goes for 15,000 credits. How could you save that much in a year? Another chimed in. We must remember, this equipment is borrowed. We have to work hard to repay the cost. With the war cutting off the supply of diesel bark in the core worlds, those wealthy enough are willing to pay high prices, one reminded. That's right. Diesel bark is a spice without side effects. It's not as potent as aura stimulation, but it's safe. It's a shame about those noble gentlemen, a leader among them added. Depa Balaba listened, her resolve hardening. The injustice and cruelty fueled her anger and fear, but also her determination to put an end to their atrocities. In the dense forest, the air was thick with the aftermath of a chilling conversation. This time, we have nearly eradicated the 4 villages of the Karunai in this forest. The surrounding area should now be secure. Tomorrow, let us dispatch a hunting team to eliminate all the grass cattle that feed on the bark of diesel trees. Then, we can proceed with our mining operations without any disturbances, declared one of the men, his eyes gleaming with a ruthless determination. It was clear that these individuals had not only decimated a single village, but had orchestrated a series of brutal attacks. Depa Balaba listened, her heart sinking as she realized the extent of their atrocities. The isolation brought on by the harsh winter had hindered communication between the villages, leaving the Karunai unaware and unprepared for these assaults. Laughter broke out among the group as they reminisced about their winter raids, boasting about the unexpected advantage they had gained over the Karunai. The conversation took a darker turn as one man recounted, with disturbing glee, his cruel treatment of a young Karunai girl. Depa Balaba's anger intensified, haunted by the image of a survivor she had encountered earlier. The realization that these men, equipped for winter combat, could now launch relentless attacks was a dire revelation. The war on the planet Harankar, once confined to the summer months due to severe cold, had taken a grim turn. The Balawai, occupying the planet's prime city, had the means to protect their non-combatants, a luxury the Karunai lacked. The cold winters, once a respite and a time for the Karunai to recuperate, had now been stripped away as a protective barrier. The prospect of continuous danger loomed over the Karunai, threatening their very existence. The conversation shifted, and one of the men mentioned the capture of several spies by the guards of Pelek Bao City, believed to be sent by the Karunai. Among the captured were several women, whose beauty was noted with perverse delight by the guards who had subjected them to days of torture. The mention of female spies struck a nerve with Depa Balaba. Her mind raced as she thought of her beloved apprentices, Luna Meng and Luna Huan, who had ventured into Pelek Bao City with the mission to sabotage the control center of the aerospace weapon. The lack of communication over the winter months had left her anxious, and this news ignited a fierce rage within her. Driven by fury, Depa Balaba unsheathed her lightsaber and charged at the group. In a blur of motion, two heads were swiftly severed, falling to the ground with a thud. Without hesitation, she continued her assault, determined to avenge the atrocities committed against her people and her apprentices. Vol 2, Chapter 867, Dreamlike. In Pelek Bao City, the capital of planet Harinkar, life thrives in stark contrast to the planet's otherwise hellish environment. Situated on a relatively flat plateau over 5,000 meters above sea level, this city is a haven for over 400,000 inhabitants, most of whom are smugglers from across the galaxy. The lucrative trade of diesel bark, a commodity with high demand, has attracted settlers who have established a thriving community with its own unique set of rules. These regulations, initially set by a coalition of the strongest mercenary groups, were designed to combat the threat of the Karunai people and to harvest diesel bark more efficiently and sustainably, preserving the diesel tree's growth. The city's economy revolves around the organized collection, roasting, and processing of diesel bark, utilizing the volcanic substances unique to Harinkar to produce a high-quality product free of side effects. The community is divided into specialized teams, including hunters tasked with controlling the population of grass cattle, seen as pests due to their consumption of diesel bark, which they render useless for any other purpose. Another crucial team is the armed force, dedicated to confronting the Karunai, for whom grass cattle are vital, providing nutritious milk that enhances their survival in the perilous jungles of Harinkar. Over centuries, Pelek Bao has evolved from a settlement of smugglers into a prosperous city, boasting an economic output surpassing many larger cities in the Outer Rim. This prosperity has not gone unnoticed by figures like Count Dooku, who sees the city and its diesel bark as valuable political assets. In the city's West District, on Xinguo Street, the Spotted Wolf Bar is alive with the raucous laughter of mercenaries. Luna Huan, standing on a table with a glass of juice in hand, leads the revelry, challenging her companions to a drinking contest. As the mercenaries descend into drunken chaos, Luna Huan, with a sly smile, steps down, her sister Luna Meng quietly following. To an outsider, Luna Meng might appear a mere servant, but her presence is that of a vigilant guardian. Luna Huan, savoring the fruit juice's aroma, reflects on the evening's entertainment, amused by the spectacle of the mercenaries, including those disguised as clone soldiers, engaging in the festivities. Her casual demeanor belies the complexity of life in Pelek Bao City, a place where every day is a negotiation between survival, profit, and the delicate balance of power among its diverse inhabitants. Leaves and rainbows surrounded the scene, their expressions a mix of fascination and horror, despite having witnessed similar events over the past few months. Moments ago, Luna Huan had been standing on the table, sipping juice in a manner that, to the untrained eye, resembled a burly, bearded mercenary downing the strongest of spirits. Then, as Luna Phantom leaped down and returned to their midst, Captain Simba continued his song and dance, though he was merely a phantom. The crowd seemed to look right through the beautiful girl who had emerged from Captain Simba, treating her as if she were nothing more than air. Rainbow's mind wandered back to their first visit to Pelek Bao City. As they pondered how to sneak into the city, Luna Meng and Luna Huan approached the entrance with a carefree demeanor. The soldiers there greeted them with nods and bows, allowing them entry without any hindrance. They hadn't even bothered to change their attire, donning the same blue and red dresses. From then on, their movements within the city were unrestricted, their actions dictated solely by the whims of the Dream Sisters, or more specifically, the unpredictable Luna Han. One day, they could masquerade as wealthy businessmen in Central, spending non-existent currency freely, and the next, they might parade around the barracks as a squad of patrolmen. For Rainbow and the others, The line between reality and fantasy had blurred. Luna Han occasionally played pranks on them, such as offering them a fruit-bursting knower, with color and flavor, only for them to discover it was actually a piece of wood. Thankfully, she hadn't gone as far as to trick them into biting into a stone. They had come to understand that, should the Dream Sisters wish it, they could be convinced to eat anything, no matter how repulsive. Despite their antics, they steered clear of Pelek Bao City's administrative center and the aerospace weapons control hub. The Dream Sisters had warned them of the presence of dark side powerhouses in the administrative center, advising against rash actions. Yet they seemed in no rush to address the task assigned by their master, with Luna Meng spending her days leisurely accompanying Luna Han throughout the city, seemingly indifferent to their mission. However, today marked a change, as the Dream Sisters appeared to finally focus on their objective. Captain Simba approached a drunken soldier, gripping his shoulder with a strength that seemed impossible for an illusion. "Hey boy, I heard your guards apprehended a few female spies recently?" Captain Simba inquired, his breath reeking of alcohol. The soldier, already deep in his cups, laughed heartily. Indeed, a few Kurunai beauties thought they could seduce the guard commander with their looks. Ha! Even with makeup, they couldn't hide the grassy stench of cow's milk on them. Our commander had them arrested immediately. Ha! Then you're in for a treat. The adult in the administrative center must have had his way with these female spies, right? Captain Simba asked, his smile sly. The narrative, originally marred by poor translation, has been refined for clarity, coherence, and a more vivid depiction of the fantastical elements within the story. Vol 2, Chapter 868, The Third Adult. In a dimly lit bar, a soldier slurred his words. It's not just one adult we're dealing with, but three. The advisors from the separatist faction, they're not interested in those Kurunai women. Instead, they've been holed up in the command center, plotting their next move. Where are the Kurunai now? Captain Simba responded with a hint of disdain. What's there to study about the Kurunai? It's not as if they can't be easily eliminated. The soldier, brimming with a sense of pride, revealed, but you're unaware. Colonel Lors Gepton has set a goal to exterminate all the Kurunai leaders within 3 months. That's why those advisors are here. 3 months, you say? Captain Simba questioned, intrigued. Exactly. By May, when the diesel trees are in full bloom, Colonel Lors Gepton plans to commence large-scale mining of diesel bark. And by then, the soldier chuckled, all the Kurunai will have been eradicated. Captain Simba offered a cold smile, and with a subtle gesture, the soldier drifted into a deep sleep. Luna Meng and Luna Huan exchanged knowing looks, nodded at their 3 clone soldier companions, and left the bar with a calm demeanor. Once back at their residence, Luna Han relayed the information to the group. Luna Meng pondered for a moment before saying, to destroy all the Kurunai within 3 months, considering their current population, is estimated to be between 300,000 and 500,000, and with plans to start large-scale mining of diesel bark in May, using weapons of mass destruction would be out of the question. Logically, it seems impossible, the clone soldier Rainbow added. The Kurunai settlements are widely dispersed, and their villages rarely exceed 200 inhabitants. Locating and annihilating them one by one would be a formidable task, which explains why this civil war has persisted for decades. This means the separatists must have acquired some form of secret weapon. We must find and destroy it, whatever it may be, declared clone trooper Yeye, the large scar on his face twitching menacingly. Luna Huan turned to Luna Meng, inquiring, did the governor mention anything? Shaking her head, Luna Meng replied, the governor remained silent, simply advising us to enjoy ourselves. He believes that when the time comes, everything will unfold as it should. Luna Huan frowned. This isn't fun at all. What does he mean by when the time comes? Her eyes suddenly sparkled with mischief. Then let's stir up some trouble. Perhaps that will bring the right time closer. Luna Meng nodded in agreement, her demeanor calm as ever. During their exchange, the 3 clone troopers remained impassive, as if they hadn't heard a thing. Suddenly, a commotion erupted outside. A group of soldiers hurried down the street, seemingly under urgent orders. Luna Huan, ever eager for excitement, dashed out the door, with Luna Meng quickly following. Upon seeing them, the soldiers greeted enthusiastically. "Captain Simba, hurry! Colonel Lors has summoned us for an urgent gathering." An hour later, a convoy of hover trucks carrying soldiers from the city of Pelak Bao reached a temporary camp on the jungle's edge, only to find it destroyed, with all its occupants slain. The sisters, now among the soldiers, exchanged glances, recognizing the marks on the corpses as those made by lightsabers. A small spaceship then glided overhead, landing smoothly in a nearby clearing. Luna Meng's brow furrowed. In a planet like Harankar, such precision could only be achieved by someone attuned to the powerful force. As expected, the spacecraft's door opened, and 3 individuals emerged. One was a tall, dark-skinned man with an impressive array of dreadlocks, exuding a heroic aura. The other 2, appearing to be in their 40s and identical in looks, were presumably twins. Both wore, dressed in black robes, sporting beards, and marked with red tattoos on their faces. Their expressions were undeniably fierce. These 3 individuals were the adults previously mentioned by the Old Ears, the powerful dark force that the Dream Sisters had sensed earlier in the direction of the administrative center. They were dark Jedi Knights who had succumbed to the dark side. Luna Meng exchanged a glance with her sister. Huan rolled her eyes and pouted, her hand already on her waist, clearly ready to engage in combat should they be discovered. However, surrounded by a multitude of soldiers and facing 3 formidable dark Jedi Knights, direct confrontation seemed perilous. Luna Meng gently shook her head at her sister, signaling caution. Lunahan pouted, displaying her reluctance, but ultimately acquiesced. They minimized their force presence, striving to remain undetected. The guise of Captain Simba they had adopted was also slightly blurred, a disguise made easier by the heavy wind and snow, which obscured their true appearance from most onlookers. During their search, they stumbled upon a line on a destroyed truck that read, "Highland Liberation Front." Highland Liberation Front. The twins murmured in unison, puzzled. Since when did those from Karunai establish such an organization? Quinlan Worth, the man with dreadlocks identified as Quinlan Vos, a follower of Count Dooku turned dark, seemed distracted. Glancing at the inscription, he commented, "The victims here were slain by lightsabers, indicating the work of Jedi Knights. This suggests that the Republic has dispatched Jedi Knights to Harankar to form such an organization. At this critical moment, the Jedi must not interfere. The installation of the organic resonator is crucial," the twins stated menacingly. "No, Mr. Karok, Mr. Vinok," Quinlan Worth interjected, his gaze drifting towards the direction of the Dream Sisters, a look of confusion crossing his face. "What are you looking at, Mr. Quinlan Worth?" Karlach inquired. "I'm trying to deduce the direction in which this Jedi might have fled," Quinlan Vos explained. "You're overthinking it. That's the city of Pelak Bao. Even if you gave those Jedi Knights 10,000 doses of courage, they wouldn't dare to flee there." Vinok scoffed. "You're probably right," Quinlan Vos replied nonchalantly. "Nevertheless, we must keep a close eye on this Highland Liberation Front, double the number of staff on all patrols, and intensify the surveillance around the area. It's unlikely for Jedi Knights to survive in the wasteland. There must be a Korunai village nearby." "Excellent strategy, Mr. Quinlan Vos," Karlach said, his tone dripping with sarcasm. Addressing the soldiers, he commanded, "You heard Mr. Quinlan Vos. Get to it now." As he spoke, his gaze swept over Captain Simba, but he detected nothing out of the ordinary. The soldiers responded energetically and set about their tasks. Meanwhile, from a distance, atop a tree, Depalaba stood unshaken by the wind and snow. She gazed in the direction of the Dream Sisters, and the subtle connection between master and disciple allowed her to grasp their current predicament. She nodded in relief, her eyes shining with resolve. Attachment 1 of the Easter Egg Chapter, Twin Dark Jedi, Karlach and Vinok. Vol 2, Chapter 869, Secret Weapon. When clarity returned to Depabalaba's mind, she realized she had been overthinking. As someone deeply familiar with the Dream Sisters, she understood that the city of Pelak Bao posed no real challenge to them. The talents and abilities of the Dream Sisters were so formidable that Depabalaba chose to keep them hidden from Master Yoda, fearing that their true capabilities might be too much for even the Jedi Order to accept. The sisters' abilities complemented each other perfectly. Lunahan's powers were a nightmare for the average person. but for those sensitive to the Force, Luna Dream posed the greater threat. In Pelakbao City, there was no one capable of threatening the Dream Sisters, and even if such a threat existed, escaping would be trivial for them. As for Depa Bilaba, she looked at the dried blood on her palm with a steely resolve, having made her decision. Back in the city, Lunameng spoke with a serious tone. That person earlier, he discovered our presence. Your actions were too reckless, Rainbow admonished. Acting without a plan is extremely dangerous. In that situation, we wouldn't have been able to assist you if something went wrong. Ah, I didn't expect those fallen ones to arrive, Luna Huan admitted, her voice tinged with regret. But, sister, you mentioned he found us. Who? The man with dreadlocks. He seemed to sense something amiss with us, but he didn't raise the alarm, Lunameng explained. Maybe he's just foolish? Luna Huan speculated. Regardless, we should proceed with caution, Lunameng advised. At that moment, the clone soldier Ye chimed in. Based on what you've said, the orders given by that man actually make a lot of sense. He ordered the doubling of patrol staff and the strengthening of patrols around the area, didn't he? Rainbow slapped his thigh in realization. Exactly. This will thin out the city's forces. We have an opportunity. I can sneak in and gather information on their secret weapon, Luna Huan said, excitement in her voice. Let's first understand the patrol patterns, Lunameng suggested. All right, we'll head to the barracks tomorrow, Luna Huan agreed, eager. To others, this mission might seem suicidal, but to them, it was as simple as a shopping trip. In the administrative office of Pelakbao City, Quinlan Voss arrived at the command center with twins Karok and Vinok. They were greeted by a burly man in a military uniform standing before a holographic map. His muscles seemed ready to burst through his clothing, and an eye patch covered where one of his eyes should have been. Colonel Lords Gupton, Quinlan Voss began, one of our combat teams was annihilated, and the Highland Liberation Front was implicated. It seems we might be dealing with Jedi Knights. Jedi. Those pests are truly bothersome, Lords Gupton grumbled. But with you here, we must ensure the successful deployment of the organic resonator. Relying on the Dokal is futile. The low-orbit kinetic energy siege gun was merely a scare tactic, hardly a reliable means to target Karunai, Karok interjected. That's why Count Dooku personally oversaw the Dokal's upgrade to an organic resonator. This is the latest innovation from the Technology Alliance, Vinok added. As you were arriving, the engineers completed the assembly of the organic resonator. Let's take a look, Colonel Lords Gupton suggested, leading them to a testing site. In the center of a vast clearing, 5 individuals were bound, 3 women and 2 men, all spies from Karunai who had been captured. A few days prior, the Karunai tribes, many of whom sought to rebel against the smugglers, were a variable unknown to Karl Vasto. These individuals were subjected to severe torture, transforming into barely recognizable human forms before succumbing to their injuries on the ground. Hovering above the testing area, a spacecraft was stationed, equipped with a complex device attached beneath it. Get ready, commanded Colonel Lords Gupton. 2 trucks, each carrying a different load, drove past. The first truck's bed was filled with soil and several diesel trees had been planted within it, while the second truck trailed a grass cow tied up at the back. The trucks came to a halt beside a group of spies, and without hesitation, an engineer at the control console pressed a button. In that instant, the device beneath the spacecraft emitted an invisible, directional shockwave. The sand and gravel on the test site's ground were violently upheaved as if struck by an immense force, yet the ground itself showed no signs of vibration. The shockwave persisted for approximately 30 seconds before ceasing. Following this, several B-1 combat robots, equipped with cameras, entered the area. At the test site center, the spies and the grass cow from one of the trucks had been reduced to a grotesque mass of decayed flesh, with not a single bone in sight. Remarkably, both the suspended trucks and the B-1 combat robots remained intact and fully operational. Witnessing the scene, Colonel Lords Gupton erupted into laughter. Ha! Fantastic! With this device, I can precisely eliminate all the Karunai and grass cattle in the jungle, while leaving the valuable diesel trees completely unharmed. Ha! Karlok and Vinok, 2 brothers, joined in the laughter, their pride evident. A Skakoan engineer, clad in a full metal protective suit, interjected, "I cannot immediately confirm the results. We need biologists to examine whether the diesel trees are truly undamaged. Additionally, we must conduct tests to determine how the organic resonator's shockwave attenuates as it travels through the atmosphere. This is your responsibility. My only concern is when I can eliminate those Karunai," Lord Gupton retorted dismissively. "With this secret weapon, it's merely a matter of time," Quinlan Voss remarked, his eyes gleaming with an unspoken thought, though he maintained a composed demeanor and stepped forward with a compliment. "Oh, receiving praise from someone as forthright as you suggests that this organic resonator is indeed formidable," Lord Gupton responded. "Inform your master, Count Dooku, that on the day the Koronai people are exterminated, I will immediately pledge the planet Harankar's allegiance to the Confederation of Independent Galaxies." Vol 2, Chapter 870, Fall into Darkness. In a small village of the Korunai, leader Karl Vasto expressed his skepticism to Depa Baraba, who stood resolutely before him. "The Highland Liberation Front is unnecessary," Karl stated, dismissing the idea with a shake of his head. "I alone am enough to deal with the Balawai without needing a name for our cause." Depa Baraba countered passionately, "You might not see the need, but the people of Korunai living in these highlands do. They crave the hope that such an organization promises. All we need is a name. The actual existence of the Highland Liberation Front is secondary." After a moment of contemplation, Karl Vasto nodded in agreement, swayed by Depa Baraba's conviction. "Your strength and wisdom are undeniable. I will support your decision," he conceded. "What's our next move?" inquired an Ake guard standing nearby. Depa Baraba's eyes blazed with determination, perhaps even a hint of vengeance. "The Separatists have supplied smugglers with winter combat gear. They're planning an attack. I've managed to capture 10 sets of this gear. We'll arm our best fighters and retaliate in kind. We will fight fire with fire." Karl Vasto noticed a change in Depa Baraba, a shift towards something darker. "You've changed," he observed, a slight smile playing on his lips. "I am still myself, but my beliefs have never been stronger. I've seen the truth of our situation with clear eyes," Depa Baraba declared with unwavering resolve. Karl Vasto pounded his chest in solidarity, rallying those around him. "Depa Baraba, comrades, sisters, compatriots." The call was echoed by the Ake guards and villagers present, their voices united in determination. "My apprentices are making their moves in Pelekbao City. I have faith in them to fulfill their mission. Our focus must remain here. We will strike first and eliminate all Balawai strongholds outside Pelekbao City. Leave no survivors." Depa Baraba's words were laced with a chilling resolve, and a palpable darkness began to emanate from her, growing more intense by the moment. Meanwhile, in Pelekbao City, the Dream Sisters and their accompanying clone troopers returned to their base, their expressions grave. Luna Huan, usually more vocal, remained silent, her demeanor serious. "Did you discover anything at the barracks?" Rainbow inquired, puzzled by their hasty departure. Luna Phantom nervously bit her thumb. "The Jedi Knight's contact code was hidden behind the database host. It's a spot easily overlooked unless one is deliberately searching for intelligence. This suggests the Jedi anticipates our actions and believes in our capabilities." "It has to be the Dreadlocks Jedi," Luna Huan interjected, her frustration evident. Accustomed to being the observer, the sensation of being watched was both infuriating and unsettling. "What does the contact code reveal?" Beard asked, intrigued. "An address," Luna Meng replied, her tone neutral. "It could be a rendezvous point, a clue, or a trap." "Can't the Force alert us to danger?" Rainbow questioned, seeking reassurance. "The Jedi's manipulation of the Force clouds our vision, making it difficult to discern the true nature of the threat. However, I don't sense any immediate danger," Luna Meng assured her. "Then we proceed with caution," Rainbow decided. "Use your illusions to disguise us." "Agreed," Luna Meng responded without hesitation. The Dream Sisters were not ones to shy away from action, and the clone troopers accepted their roles without question. The following day, under the guise of an illusion crafted by the Dream Sisters, Beard and Yeyi ventured to the specified location. They found neither the Jedi nor any clues. However, using the Force, the Dream Sisters uncovered another contact code from the Jedi, hidden within a small anthill beside the road. Upon returning to their base, Beard shared the discovery, revealing the layers of intrigue and the shadowy dance between the Jedi and their own mysterious endeavors. The path ahead was fraught with uncertainty, but their love remained unshaken, ready to confront whatever darkness lay in wait. The note was filled with symbols that were completely foreign to him. "This is the password of the Jedi Order. It appears this individual is indeed an undercover agent of the Jedi Order," Luna Meng explained as she began to decipher the note. Her expression quickly turned grave. "What does it say?" Rainbow inquired, his curiosity piqued. "The secret weapon is a shockwave designed to resonate with both animals and the human body. It can disintegrate people at the molecular level without affecting plants or machinery," Luna Meng revealed. "The plan to exterminate the Karunai within a month relies on this technology." "In that case, we must destroy it," Rainbow declared with a sense of urgency. "This device is still in the experimental phase. It's scheduled to be launched into orbit in about a month, to be installed on the Dokka aerospace weapon platform provided by the Separatists. Once operational, it will enable them to commence the massacre. It will then take another 2 months to fully deploy the technology. The Lunai people could be eradicated completely," Luna Meng explained, her tone surprisingly nonchalant about the prospect of slaughter. Rainbow couldn't help but cast a wary glance at the two sisters. Despite the imminent threat to the lives of hundreds of thousands, they remained calm, almost indifferent. This detachment was unsettling, even to him, a seasoned clone soldier. "Then, we must act before they manage to launch it. Without a spaceship, we're at a disadvantage if they succeed in getting it into orbit," Luna Huan interjected, dismissing the concern with a wave of her hand. "Moreover," Luna Meng continued, "according to this note, the two identical uncles are twins and formidable adversaries. They are devout followers of Count Dooku and were previously in charge of an industrial planet. Now, they are advising on the planet Renkar. Eliminating them, along with Colonel Lors Gupton, the leader of the Balawai, would plunge their forces into disarray due to a lack of leadership. That's easier said than done. Everyone understands that killing the supreme leader could turn the tide, but the real question is how," Rainbow countered, skeptical of the feasibility of their plan. "At least we have a target. Let's go for it, sister," Luna Han said with a reckless grin. Lastly, Luna Meng added, "He mentioned he would continue to send us information, so we must wait patiently." As she finished her sentence, she raised her hand, and the note disintegrated into powder, scattering into the air. "Ah! I can't stand the thought of waiting. We need to take action!" Luna Phantom exclaimed, unable to contain her restlessness. "Let's sabotage the spaceport tomorrow. That should prevent them from launching or landing any spacecraft for a while." Vol 2, Chapter 871, Spaceport Attack. 5 days later, late at night, a violent explosion erupted at the only spaceport in the city of Pelekbao, jolting the residents from their slumber. The towering spaceport, standing over 300 meters tall, was blown apart at its midsection. The colossal structure crumbled, burying more than a dozen spaceships that were docked there beneath the rubble. This spaceport was the sole facility in Pelekbao City for spacecraft to take off and land, making the attack not just a physical blow, but a significant operational setback. The planet Harankar, where the city is located, is known for its harsh environment. The chaotic electromagnetic atmosphere and the pervasive fungal spores, capable of devouring and corroding metal, pose constant threats. The Karunai people have developed a method to protect their metal tools using Bacta amber, but the smugglers, lacking such resources, rely on expensive technology. They use a unique ionosphere to shield the spacecraft and then perform thorough sterilization before docking in the hangar. This technology is also employed in the planet's administrative offices, laboratories, and weapon depots, but its high cost limits widespread use. The explosion was a direct affront to the defenders of Pelekbao City, causing not only economic damage, but also rendering the city incapable of handling large spacecraft landings and takeoffs. Without the spaceport's sterilization and ionosphere protection, ships would quickly deteriorate, a risk no one could afford. Colonel Lors Gupton, the leader of the smugglers, was incensed. He ordered an immediate lockdown of the entire city, forbidding anyone from leaving, and demanded that his men find the perpetrators at any cost. The amount of explosives required to cause such devastation suggested a well-planned attack, yet how the explosives were smuggled in remained a mystery to the guards. As the investigation deepened, the guards were shocked to discover that the explosive used was a large quantity of compressed explosive gas, sourced from their own arsenal. Gupton's fury intensified, leading to the arrest and interrogation of all guards from the arsenal and spaceport. Despite the harsh questioning, no information was forthcoming. The guards maintained their innocence, claiming everything was normal during their shifts. Surveillance efforts failed to uncover any leads. The inventory of compressed gas tanks in the arsenal appeared unchanged in the footage. However, a physical check revealed a discrepancy. More than 10 tanks were missing, yet they were accounted for in the surveillance footage. This baffling situation felt like a mockery to the investigators. It wasn't until a thorough review of the surveillance post-explosion that an anomaly was detected. Mysteriously, the missing tanks of compressed explosive gas vanished from the footage 5 hours after the blast, as if they had never been there. Despite checking for tampering, the monitoring equipment showed no signs of interference, leading the investigation to a dead end. In a desperate move, the Dark Jedi Knights were called upon to assist. Brothers Karlach, Vinok, and Quinlan Voss examined the site and the arsenal, initially finding nothing. However, they eventually sensed a slight disturbance in the Force, leading to a startling conclusion. "Jedi did it. A Jedi has infiltrated our city," Karlach exclaimed. "Their target must be the organic resonator. We must immediately inform Colonel Lords to strengthen the defenses." The revelation that a Jedi was behind the attack added a new layer of complexity to the situation, prompting a heightened state of alert as they prepared to defend against further incursions. Vinok's voice echoed with determination. The garrison and the Jedi Knights must not succeed. Quinlan Voss remained silent, his expression grave. The information had come from him. In a previously attacked camp outside the city, he had sensed a slight disturbance, a trace of the Force, that only someone with his extensive battle experience and espionage CK ground could detect. To confirm his suspicions, he had risked using the Jedi Order's contact code to leave clues. Placing the information in an anthill seemed risky, but the acidic substances in the ants of planet Harankar could be used to his advantage. If anything went awry, he could use the Force to induce the ants to self-destruct, ensuring the complete dissolution of the clues in their acid. However, the response came with the Jedi Knight Order's contact code. Though it lacked actual content, it confirmed the sender's identity, providing Quinlan with some relief. He had initially planned to discreetly collaborate with this Jedi Knight to dismantle the Separatists' secret weapon. Yet, to his surprise, the Jedi opted for a bold move. In full view of numerous guards, a ton of compressed explosive gas was delivered to the spaceport and detonated. This act of sheer audacity not only demonstrated the Jedi's formidable strength, but also surpassed Quinlan's own capabilities. Quinlan interpreted this explosive gesture as a message of unparalleled confidence and capability, encouraging him to consider more daring and radical strategies. As he faced the Dark Twins, he pondered their potential defeat, given the Jedi's proven strength. The next step was to create an opportunity for this ally. Meanwhile, in a modest dwelling within the city of Pelekbao, the clone trooper named Rainbow was unusually agitated. Overcome with frustration, he confronted the Dream Sisters. "Your actions are excessive. Regardless of your abilities, the spaceport's destruction has caused chaos. The city has seen 3 investigative teams today alone. With the city under complete lockdown and martial law, how do you expect to destroy the secret weapon? It's impossible." Luna Huan, twirling her single ponytail, retorted with a pout. "Well, if the spaceport is destroyed, they can't launch the secret weapon into space, can they?" Luna Meng responded coolly. "It won't stop them. If the Separatists are willing to sacrifice a transport ship, they'll still manage to send the weapon into space." Rainbow was on the verge of despair. "Then what's the point of all this chaos? I thought you were just planning a simple explosion." The narrative unfolds with the characters grappling with the consequences of their actions and the complexities of their mission, revealing the intricate dance of strategy, strength, and sacrifice in their fight against the Separatists. Vol 2, Chapter 872, Confidence. Luna Meng casually stroked her single ponytail on the right side and averted her gaze, clearly indicating she felt no obligation to indulge her sister's antics. Luna Huan, on the other hand, rolled her eyes and asserted, "It was indeed an explosion. I was right. I believe in you," Rainbow retorted, frustration evident in his tone. Despite knowing Luna Huan might be incorrect, she couldn't help but feel slighted by the clone soldier's outburst. She huffed. "We're putting in a lot of effort, you know. Maintaining illusions while simultaneously using the Force to eliminate those threats and transport heavy supplies is no easy feat." "And what do you propose we do now? Keep up the illusion round the clock? The guards have sealed off all exits. No one can get in or out, rendering your illusions pointless. The streets are swarming with investigation teams, and those dark Jedi could be lurking anywhere. Plus, there's the risk to our undercover ally. Do you realize your actions could endanger his life?" Rainbow was unusually bold, a stark contrast to his typical demeanor, where he wouldn't dare raise his voice against a Jedi, let alone the enigmatic Dream Sisters. Perhaps this chaos might present an opportunity. Destroying the spaceport weakens the Balavai, after all, Luna Meng mused. That's the best we can hope for. Rainbow sighed, then inquired about the investigation team. As long as those dark Jedi Knights don't join the search, ordinary people won't see through our illusions, Luna Meng explained. Meanwhile, we'll revisit our informant and see if there's been any reaction. Rainbow nodded, though he was mentally prepared for the worst. Should their cover be blown, the 3 clone soldiers were ready to defend the Dream Sisters at all costs. 3 days passed in this tense atmosphere. The city of Pelik Bao remained on high alert, with guards and investigation teams tirelessly combing through the streets. Bounty hunters roamed freely, adding to the uncertainty. Each time the investigation team neared the Dream Sisters' hideout, their illusions made it appear as nothing more than an ordinary home, averting suspicion. However, the Dream Sisters could sense the dark presence of 3 powerful dark Jedi Knights nearby, a constant threat looming over them. When Rainbow inquired about their chances should they confront these dark Jedi, Luna Huan confidently claimed they would ensure the intruders never left. Luna Meng, however, was more realistic, acknowledging the formidable challenge they faced, especially against the dreadlocked, dark-skinned knight whose power was inscrutable. Undercover operations often required agents to make hard decisions, including harming their own to maintain their cover. The Dream Sisters knew all too well the cold, decisive nature required of an undercover agent. Unless... Luna Huan began, only to be silenced by a stern look from Luna Meng. A breakthrough came when the Dream Sisters uncovered new intelligence on one of their outings. They decoded the message using a Jedi Order technique, revealing a simple plan. In one day, their contact would lure the Dark Twins, Karlach and Vinok, to a warehouse in the northern part of the city. He intended to divert the guards elsewhere, creating an opportunity for them to act. The prospect of an ambush loomed large as the clone soldier Ye voiced his concerns. "This information seems like a trap from every angle," he said. Beard, however, was not so quick to dismiss the intelligence. "The other party has provided us with crucial information before. If this were a trap, sharing that information previously would have been pointless, right?" How crucial was that information, really? It merely introduced us to the other party's situation without offering any actionable clues to alter the current state of affairs, Ye retorted. Beard hesitated, understanding the gravity of the situation. The Dream Sisters held a special place in the heart of their leader, Depa Billaba, who saw them not just as valuable assets, but as the future of the Jedi Order, surpassing even the Chosen One in importance. "I suggest we proceed with caution. Perhaps we could employ illusions to disguise ourselves as we did before, allowing us to take action without directly exposing ourselves," Rainbow suggested. This time, however, the Dream Sisters unanimously rejected the idea. "Let's go and confront them. If anything seems amiss, we'll also take down the dreadlocks," Luna Huan declared, her determination clear. "But we must ensure that the city guards do not come near the warehouse. Should they approach, you must alert us immediately. We cannot rely on illusions for this mission," Luna Meng added solemnly. "Don't worry, General Luna. We will handle it," Rainbow assured with conviction. We'll head to the warehouse in advance. The rest is up to you, Lunameng stated, her tone light yet firm. If things turn sour, we'll send a distress signal. Your safety is paramount. Do not risk your lives for ours, Rainbow said, saluting. Colonel Lords Gupton slammed his fist on the table, his frustration boiling over. 3 days, and still no sign of the culprits. They're not acting alone. It's a gang. Is it so hard to dismantle them? Count Dooku didn't send you here to twiddle your thumbs. Karlach, struggling to contain his irritation, responded, If the enemy can obliterate a spaceport right under our noses, they're clearly formidable. It's unrealistic to expect your men to find them by merely monitoring the city. Then what do you suggest we do? Our outposts have been under attack, and the Highland Liberation Front is making moves both inside and outside the city. We're sitting ducks here, Lords Gupton bellowed. Quinlan Voss spoke up with a plan. The enemy is after the organic resonators. We could spread false information about moving the resonators to a new location and preparing them for space transport. They'll surely take the bait. The tension in the room was palpable as they considered Voss's strategy, aware that the success of their mission hinged on outsmarting a cunning and elusive foe. Vol 2, Chapter 873, Preparation. Colonel Lords Gupton pondered for a moment, a sneer forming at the corner of his mouth. Using the fake news of organic resonators. It makes sense. Yes, let's proceed with that plan. However, we'll remove the organic resonator's outer casing and launch cover, leaving only the core, Quinlanworth suggested. Lords Gupton's expression soured. You mentioned it was fake news. The adversary is a formidable Jedi Knight. Do you truly believe we can fool him with mere words or a replica? Quinlan Voss retorted with a cold smile. That doesn't justify dismantling our secret weapon. Lords Gupton protested vehemently. What have we been fighting for, if not for this very weapon? This is the key to our victory over the Karunes. Quinlanworth calmly replied. As long as the core remains intact, acquiring a new set of casings and launch shields from the Confederation of Independent Systems to reassemble it won't be difficult. Our spaceport has been destroyed. Acquiring a new casing means I'd have to board a transport ship myself, directly exposing it to the harsh atmosphere of Heron Kar. No ship can withstand that, Lords Gupton argued. If you deliver the Jedi Knight's head, Count Dooku will surely compensate for this minor loss, Karlach interjected. I believe this is the only way to lure the Jedi. You lack understanding of power, just as you fail to grasp how the Jedi destroyed the spaceport. Quinlan Voss glanced at the Karlach brothers, his heart filled with disdain. He knew they were clueless about the Jedi's methods and were merely bluffing. Lords Gupton glared at the 3 dark Jedi Knights before him. How confident are you in defeating the Jedi Knight? He demanded. Quinlan Voss replied with a cold snort. Why do you think we're still alive and discussing this? It's because the Jedi Knight isn't sure of his victory over us, so he hesitates to confront us directly. His uncertainty is our assurance. The Karlach brothers exchanged looks, nodding in agreement with Quinlan Voss. Colonel Lords Gupton finally conceded. Very well, proceed as planned, but be cautious during the battle. We might be able to salvage and reuse these components. Quinlan Voss inwardly sneered at Lords Gupton's miserliness. Despite amassing wealth from the exploitation of the Karunai, Lords Gupton remained excessively frugal. Nonetheless, Quinlan Voss was pleased the plan was approved, as it would delay the deployment of the organic resonator by at least a month. This delay would provide them with additional time to prepare their contingency plans. Without its protective casing, the secret weapon's core was vulnerable. A well-timed accident could potentially destroy it. Quinlan Voss then outlined his strategy. Mobilize all your forces, focusing on 3 priorities. First, ensure the organic resonator's core is secure. Second, enforce a citywide lockdown to prevent anyone from leaving. Third, keep a contingent ready to support us at a moment's notice. This plan was foolproof and logical. By dividing Colonel Lord's forces into 3, they increased their chances of success. Quinlan Voss excelled at concealing his true intentions within seemingly reasonable plans, a skill honed from years of undercover work within the separatist sphere. Colonel Lords nodded in agreement, and preparations commenced immediately. Quinlan Voss discreetly designated the warehouse as one of the potential battlefields. cleverly embedding this option among several plausible but flawed locations. He then subtly steered the decision-making process in its favor. Vinok had proposed using the warehouse as a strategic point. 2 days later, as the secret weapon was prepared for deployment, whispers of the decades-long civil war with the Karunai nearing its end began circulating among certain mercenaries. The information that the secret weapon would be stored in the North City warehouse was discreetly shared with a few well-connected individuals, with the weapon's location being one of several decoys. Quinlan Worth explained that if the enemy could destroy the spaceport, they could certainly identify the real location among the decoys. Making the information too accessible would fail to lure the enemy into the trap. Colonel Lords Gupton strategically divided his forces into 3 groups. The majority were stationed to guard the key passages and entrances of Pelikbao City, ensuring a tight blockade. The most elite units were positioned in the laboratory housing the core of the organic resonator. As Quinlan Voss had anticipated, Colonel Lords did not allocate these elite troops for reinforcement. Despite their cooperation, each party had its own agenda. Quinlan Worth had factored human nature into his plans, and everything was unfolding as he had envisioned. He inwardly smirked, his true aim being to eliminate the separatist forces on the planet of Harankar. The Karlach brothers, unaware, never suspected that the Jedi Order's target was not just the organic resonator but them as well. This critical oversight led them straight into the trap. It was ironic that their concern had always been the safety of the core, not their own. The remaining question was whether the Jedi Knight, who had yet to reveal himself, could eliminate the Dark Brothers. Quinlan Voss, along with the Karlach brothers and over 100 soldiers, escorted the secret weapon, disguised within the shell of the organic resonator, to the large warehouse in the north of the city. Initially, he had intended to dismiss the heavily armed soldiers, but found no plausible reason to do so, hoping the Jedi would not be deterred by their presence. However, Quinlan Voss sensed something amiss upon entering the warehouse. At first glance, everything appeared normal, identical to his visit the day before. The hoisting machinery, the haphazardly stacked containers and cargo boxes, and the construction equipment were all in their places. Even the handprint he had left on a dusty box was still clearly visible. Yet, something felt off. Observing the Karlach brothers, he noticed their unease, though they seemed just as perplexed. His gaze then shifted to the organic resonator casing being unloaded from the trailer, and a realization struck him like a bolt of lightning. The weight of the casing was incorrect. Chapter 874, Dark Brothers vs. Dream Sisters, Part 1, Our Dreamland. The Force is a mysterious and powerful entity, encompassing everything from time and space to the very essence of the universe. It manifests uniquely in those sensitive to its call, granting abilities that range from the common to the extraordinary. Among these gifted individuals, a select few possess talents that are both rare and unteachable. In the Jedi Order, such unique abilities are revered as special talents. Master Yaddle, for instance, has the rare ability to manipulate time, while Yarel Puff can conjure mental illusions. Oppo Lensisis excels in combat meditation. Quinlan Voss, known for his psychometry, can read the history of any person or object with a mere touch, even if the object is inanimate, like a stone. His understanding of the Force Mask is unparalleled, making him an invaluable spy and earning him the respect of Count Dooku, the leader of the Separatists and a Sith Lord feared by the Jedi Order. Quinlan Voss's unique talent recently led him to a startling discovery. While inspecting a warehouse, he noticed an anomaly with a shell designed for an organic resonator. The shell, along with its launch cover and forged core, should weigh 3.75 tons and cause the suspension trailer to hover 1.27 meters off the ground. However, the shell in question weighed only 3.70 tons, a discrepancy of 50 kilograms. This seemingly minor detail immediately set off alarms for Voss. He meticulously examined his surroundings, only to find that everything appeared exactly as it had during his previous visit. This was impossible. The natural changes in the environment, such as dust accumulation and air movement, should have caused noticeable differences. The unchanging state of the warehouse was a clear sign that something was amiss. While Voss's companions, Karlach and Vinok, sensed that something was wrong, They lacked Voss's acute perception. Vinok voiced his unease, prompting Voss to prepare for a confrontation. He drew his lightsaber, ready to face whatever threat lay ahead. In a sudden move, Karlach used the Force to hurl a cargo box towards a container, causing it to shatter and reveal their hidden adversaries. Laughter echoed through the warehouse, and two figures emerged from the shadows. Dressed in exquisite gowns, one red and one blue, were two young girls, no older than 17 or 18. Their blonde hair was tied into ponytails, adorned with Jedi apprentice hair accessories. They looked like delicate dolls, yet their presence in such a setting hinted at a dangerous undercurrent. Quinlan Voss and his companions were taken aback by the appearance of these Dream Sisters, as they would come to be known. The confrontation between the Dark Brothers and the Dream Sisters was about to begin, setting the stage for a clash of talents and wills in a world where the Force intertwined the fates of all. Quinlan Voss had conjured up countless scenarios in his mind about the identity or nature of the Jedi Knight capable of smuggling a vast quantity of explosive gas into the spaceport and then detonating it. He speculated it might be a member of the Jedi Order's Supreme Council acting covertly, even going so far as to compare techniques to guess who it could be. However, the reality was far beyond his imagination. It was actually two young girls, and their hair accessories clearly marked them as apprentices. Could their masters still be hidden, waiting to reveal themselves? Quinlan couldn't help but scan the surroundings for any sign of another presence. "Don't bother searching, foolish one. We are the only ones here." Ha! The girl in the red dress laughed heartily. "Allow me to introduce us. I am Luna Han, and this is my sister," she gestured to her companion. "I am Luna Meng," the girl in the blue dress added with a serene expression. After their introductions, the two gracefully curtsied. "Welcome to the Dreamland." Karlach, driven by a mix of curiosity and greed, stepped forward to confront the sisters. "Are you the culprits behind the spaceport's destruction? Seize them," he commanded, signaling to the soldiers he had brought along to apprehend the girls, intending to test their capabilities. However, an eerie silence followed his command. Sensing something amiss, Karlach turned around, only to be met with a shocking sight. All 100 soldiers had turned their blaster rifles towards him and his companions. Traitors! The realization of betrayal hit them all at once, prompting an immediate retreat. But in the next moment, a barrage of energy beams was unleashed upon them. Despite the surprise, the trio, being adept and trained in the Force, managed to deflect the incoming fire with their lightsabers, their movements a blur of speed and precision. Yet, Quinlan Voss quickly noticed something odd. Some of the deflected beams seemed to pass right through the soldiers, as if they were mere apparitions. Karlach and Vinok, too, sensed the anomaly and charged at the soldiers, only to find their lightsabers slicing through the figures without resistance, as if cutting through air. "These are illusions," Karlach realized aloud. "When did this happen?" Vinok exclaimed in disbelief. Quinlan Voss was filled with a sense of dread, not just from the realization that the soldiers were illusions, but also from the fact that the energy beams felt disturbingly real. Each shot triggered his instincts to dodge, mimicking the sensation of genuine danger. Suddenly, Karlach sensed an imminent threat and spun around, his lightsaber meeting the clash of two smaller ones. Despite his superior strength knocking the smaller lightsabers away, they seemed to be guided by an unseen force, flying back into the hands of the two sisters who were now levitating in midair. "They can fly? This is impossible!" The trio looked up in disbelief at the sisters, standing defiantly above them, challenging their understanding of what was possible. Vol 2, Chapter 875, Dark Brothers vs. Dream Sisters, Middle. Minecraft Karlach's eyes widened in awe when he witnessed the Dream Sisters levitating. Force-sensitive individuals could leap over 10 meters high or glide through the air briefly, but true flight required a significantly powerful force. It seemed impossible for two apprentices to achieve such a feat. Continuous flight not only drained the original force, but also demanded more in the face of attacks. For Jedi Knights, the cost was too great, potentially leading to vulnerability or even death. Thus, experienced Jedi would never opt to fly. However, for Quinlan Voss, the situation was far from simple. Since arriving at the warehouse, he had encountered nothing but strangeness, with illusions at every turn. Now, with the sisters flying, there could only be one explanation. Looking for death. Vinok stepped forward, his hands raised. The dark side of the force surged, forming two giant hands aiming to snatch the sisters from the sky. But his attempt faltered as his force reserves were depleted. "It's an illusion," Vinok exclaimed, just as a small lightsaber zoomed towards him from behind. "Be careful." Karlach, in perfect sync with Vinok, positioned himself behind his brother, deflecting the tiny lightsaber. An illusion. Everything here was an illusion. Quinlan Vos was consumed by fear, unable to distinguish between illusion and reality, even with his mental faculties. If the floating dream sisters were an illusion, then where were the real ones? As soon as their ruse was discovered, the illusionary sisters in midair flickered, and suddenly hundreds of clones appeared. Each clone wielded 3 tiny lightsabers, slowly spinning in their hands. Ha! Luna Huan's laughter filled the air, both beautiful and arrogant. "How does it feel to be trapped in a dream, you foolish uncles?" With that, the clones hurled their lightsabers simultaneously. "Bastard!" Karlach and Vinok, standing back to back, shifted their sword stances to Soresu, the third form. Their movements were fluid and coordinated, creating an impenetrable defense. Despite the onslaught of lightsabers, real or not, they blocked every attack. Quinlan Vos, realizing the sisters' terrifying potential, began inching towards the warehouse's far side, feigning struggle. His force was stronger than Karlach and Vinok's, and his premonition of death at the sisters' hands only deepened his fear. They were far more dangerous than they appeared. "Quinlan Vos, come over here. We need to join forces," Vinok called out. "I'll try my best," Quinlan Vos replied, his voice strained. "That's all they have. They can't hurt us," Karlach added confidently. Suddenly, Quinlan Vos faltered, and a tiny lightsaber left a deep gash on his arm. "Ah! I'm injured!" Quinlan Vos screamed, rolling into a container. Once inside, his demeanor shifted to one of seriousness. Was the lightsaber real, or just another illusion? "Trash!" Karlach cursed. "Have you figured it out, Karlach?" Vinok asked, continuing to fend off the lightsaber attacks. "I've realized," Karlach's face twisted in anger, "if they..." The narrative was cut short, leaving the outcome hanging in suspense. The brothers, despite their prowess, were clearly outmatched by the cunning and power of the Dream Sisters. The battle was not just physical, but mental, challenging their perceptions and pushing them to their limits. Vinok spoke with a vicious tone. "I've seen it firsthand. Behind their formidable illusions lies an undeniable truth. They possess no weaknesses in lightsaber combat. That settles it. We must eliminate them." Karok, ignited by a sudden burst of determination, brandished his lightsaber with expert precision, showcasing the third style of swordsmanship in its full glory. Vinok, supporting Karok, maneuvered through the complex terrain of the warehouse, using it to their advantage for cover. In a swift, unexpected move, Karok seized Vinok by his clothing, yanking him backward just in time. A lightsaber, as if conjured from thin air, flew out from a nearby cargo box, narrowly missing Vinok but slicing through a large portion of his black cloak. "Everything in our surroundings could be an illusion, but these lightsabers, they can truly kill," Karok stated, his eyes reflecting a grave seriousness. Vinok, now fully grasping the gravity of their situation, added, "Their illusions are so convincing, they can deceive not just the Force, but electronic sensors are none the wiser." Amidst their realization, hundreds of Lunahan figures, suspended midair, erupted into mocking laughter. "Ha! Futile efforts, foolish uncles! You're trapped in our domain! Ha!" With a swift and decisive action, Karok's lightsaber cleaved a nearby cargo box in two, only to discover a mismatch between the cut and the container's actual state, a clear sign of illusion. "Destroy the surroundings, quickly," Karok commanded. Following the order, Vinok demolished another container, revealing the same digital-like error in its remains. The debris scattered, failing to align with its original form. "Their powers have limits. Tear down everything," Vinok bellowed, embarking on a frenzied destruction of their illusory environment. Amidst the chaos, they stumbled upon the bodies of several soldiers, a grim reminder of the illusion's potency. The corpses were swiftly enveloped by a new illusion, but the revelation was clear to the Dark Brothers. They had been ensnared by the illusion from the moment they entered, just as the eloquent girl in the red dress had claimed. This was their world, sustained by a continuous infusion of the Force. However, the illusion had its boundaries, and the sisters lacked proficiency in direct combat. Quinlan Voss, emerge. We've uncovered their Achilles heel. Capture them and deliver them to Count Dooku. Kurok's voice echoed through the warehouse, his tone grim with determination. There's no need, Big Black. They may be a nuisance, but their defeat is inevitable, Luna Huan casually remarked from a corner of the warehouse, addressing Quinlan Voss with a dismissive tone. Despite being in plain sight, Kurok and Vinok seemed invisible to the sisters and Quinlan Voss, as if they were merely specters. The conversation unfolded without any attempt at concealment, yet the brothers were unable to discern a single word. Quinlan Voss, pale and speechless, stared at the Dream Sisters with a look of sheer terror, as if facing a monstrous beast. Volume 2, Chapter 8 and 76, Dark Brothers vs. Dream Sisters, Part 2, Your Nightmare. Lumeng spoke with a calm assurance. As long as we don't directly confront them, they won't even realize we're here. You're too deeply ensnared in the dream, almost as if you're under a spell. Who are you calling a master? Quinlan Voss interjected, his patience wearing thin. Who taught you two to be such nightmares? Lunameng shot Quinlan Voss a glance, her words echoing his thoughts precisely. Who's the nightmare here? Oh, big guy, are you asking for trouble? Luna Huan retorted, her eyes rolling in annoyance at his comment. Quinlan Voss, unable to contain his frustration any longer, took a large step back, exclaiming, Stay back! Don't come any closer. However, his retreat was cut short when he stumbled over something soft on the ground, losing his balance and falling. To his horror, he realized he had stepped on a soldier's corpse, which then vanished, leaving him with the chilling memory of the sensation. You can read minds. Quinlan Voss stammered, his voice trembling with the desire to escape this nightmare. Of course we can. You're dreaming, and we're masters of this dream. It's simple, really, Luna Huan replied, her tone dripping with disdain. But Quinlan Voss couldn't grasp the connection. How could being in a dream allow them to know his thoughts? The concept was beyond him. Enough of this. Let's end it. I'm done playing games, Quinlan Voss declared, his resolve hardening. He rose to his feet, his voice deep and determined. You may not know swordplay, but I do. I'll take them down myself. Really? You think it's that easy to escape our dream? How naive. Just stand aside, fool, Luna Huan scoffed, her previous nickname for Quinlan Voss evolving from Big Guy to Fool, clearly holding a grudge against his earlier thoughts. Ignoring him, the sisters joined hands once more and positioned themselves behind Karlach and Vinok. The Dark Brothers sensed their presence immediately and turned around, only to find that the myriad clones of the Dream Sisters had vanished, leaving only the two real ones standing there. As the illusions dissipated, the grim reality of the warehouse, littered with the corpses of 100 soldiers, was revealed. The soldiers had been killed by a mix of blaster fire and lightsaber wounds, inflicted by the 3 Dark Jedi in the midst of their delusion. Karlach's face twisted in rage. So, you've finally shown yourselves, you little pests. When I get my hands on you, you'll wish you were never born. Do you still dare to threaten us, even on the brink of defeat? Luna Hua taunted, her voice filled with scorn. The ones facing death are you. Vinok sneered, his confidence unshaken. Luna Meng responded coolly. We may not be skilled with lightsabers, and a mere thrown lightsaber isn't enough to defeat a seasoned Jedi Knight, even with the aid of illusions. Karlach advanced with a menacing grin. But we're not the ones you should be worried about. Exactly, because someone here is an expert in swordplay. Prepare to meet your end, Luna Huan declared, her laughter echoing with triumph. Quinlan Voss, who had been watching from the sidelines, wondered if it was his cue to intervene. But before he could act, a palpable sense of danger washed over him, prompting him to retreat. The sisters, still holding hands, raised their other hands simultaneously, summoning 3 lightsabers to hover in front of them. Then, in a chilling display, 3 spectral hands emerged from the void, each grasping a lightsaber. Behold, your worst nightmare, the sisters intoned together. As the spectral hands became more distinct, the outlines of 3 figures began to materialize, heralding the arrival of an unseen threat. In the midst of the chaos, three figures stood resolute, each wielding a lightsaber with unmistakable skill and precision: Karlach, Vinok, and Quinlan Vos. Luna Huan, though visibly fatigued, couldn't help but express her excitement. Although the master forbids it, this Trar Yuli is the most exhilarating experience. Suddenly, the phantoms of the trio surged forward with astonishing speed towards the Karlach brothers and Vinok. Their movements were fluid and masterful, a testament to their proficiency with the lightsaber. The Phantom of Karlach launched an aggressive assault, while Vinok's Spectre focused on defense. Most startling of all was the apparition of Quinlan Vos, who employed the seventh form of lightsaber combat, Vapad, a technique so rare and dangerous that only Master Windu had taught him. Quinlan Vos was seized by a wave of fear. The use of Vapad was a secret he had shared with no one but Master Windu. How could these mysterious figures know of it? His mind raced with thoughts of fear and suspicion towards the Dream Sisters. He even contemplated the drastic measure of eliminating these seemingly otherworldly beings while they were momentarily vulnerable. However, as Luna Meng cast a nonchalant glance in his direction, Quinlan's resolve crumbled. He sighed deeply, deactivated his lightsaber, and resigned himself to merely observe the unfolding spectacle, his expression a mix of resignation and bewilderment. The illusions conjured by the Dream Sisters, despite their ethereal nature, possessed strength comparable to their real-life counterparts. Immune to physical harm and with seemingly limitless stamina, these phantoms wielded genuine lightsabers, making them formidable adversaries. The Karlach brothers, already drained from the battle, found themselves hopelessly outmatched. "Quinlan Vos, come and help us!" Karlach cried out, spotting Quinlan amidst the chaos. "Call for reinforcements, quick!" Vinok echoed, desperation in his voice. Quinlan, however, remained motionless, watching with a detached gaze as the illusions methodically overwhelmed his former allies. The distant sound of explosions signaled the destruction of the city, a distraction that would undoubtedly draw the attention of Colonel Lords Gupton's forces. Quinlan smirked bitterly at the realization that no help would come as long as no signal was sent. Reflecting on the situation, Quinlan felt a complex mix of emotions towards the Dream Sisters. Their connection to the Force was undeniably pure, yet their presence and actions stirred a sense of foreboding within him. "Quinlan Vos, you traitor!" Karlach's accusation was cut short as Quinlan, in a moment of grim resolve, drove his lightsaber into Karlach's chest. Vinok's anguished cry for his brother was swiftly silenced as the illusions disarmed him in a literal sense, severing both his arms. Luna Huan, with a mere gesture, sent a tiny lightsaber darting through the air, piercing Vinok's forehead with lethal precision. In this moment of chaos and betrayal, the lines between friend and foe blurred, leaving only the stark reality of survival in a galaxy far, far away. Vol 2, Chapter 877, perfect light flames engulfed the scene, a raging inferno that seemed to consume everything in its path. Depa Billaba stood before the flames, her gaze piercing through the burning house as if she were looking into the distance, beyond the immediate chaos. "Pelek Bao City," she whispered to herself, a hint of sorrow in her voice. "Have you finally taken this step? To spy, to manipulate a Jedi Knight's dreams?" Karl Vasto approached, his presence marked by the two unique power shields he wielded. The shields, thick and edged with serrations soaked in blood, seemed almost alive. "Pelek, Bao, you're witnessing this," he said, his voice heavy. Depa Bilaba's eyes, deep and thoughtful, did not waver. "Your apprentice, you're concerned about them," Karl Vasto observed, his expression darkening. "They, the demons, I see." "The apprentice, they will soon be lost," Depa Bilaba replied, shaking her head. "Are they, like you, the same?" Karl inquired. Again, Depa Bilaba shook her head. "For them, the light or darkness of the Force holds no meaning. Because of this, they will never succumb to the darkness as I did. You know, on the surface, my sister may seem as tranquil as water, as passionate as fire, but deep down, their hearts are like millennia-old ice, cold and unyielding." She continued, her gaze fixed on Karl Vasto. "If they kill, they feel neither guilt nor joy. They kill with a purpose, trapped forever in a dream." Karl Vasto instinctively stepped back, a flicker of fear in his eyes. The serene Luna Meng remains untouched because nothing can thaw the ice in her heart, and the fiery Luna Huan, too, is driven by the same reason. No matter what she does, she cannot truly feel joy, so she seeks amusement endlessly, Depabalaba concluded. They demons, Karl Vasto reiterated. Yet, Depabalaba smiled, a smile that held a trace of madness. No, they are not demons. On the contrary, they are the epitome of Jedi Knights, perfect embodiments of the Force's light side. Her smile twisted further, her laughter growing wild. Yes, the Dream Sisters are the ultimate aspiration of the Jedi Order. They are its future. Mace Windu's so-called chosen one, Anakin Skywalker, he has no future. Tang Xiao thinks I'm unaware that the Dream Sisters remain loyal to him? How amusing. Does the Dawn Planet believe we are aiding them in nurturing the Dream Sisters? They are gravely mistaken. No one understands them better than I do. Tang Xiao has no idea what he has unleashed. Depabalaba's laughter echoed, growing more frenzied. Around her, the dark side of the Force swirled, almost tangible in its intensity. I want to kill them, Karl Vasto declared. Depabalaba's laughter ceased abruptly. She turned to Karl, her expression solemn. They have already made their choice, and you will never get the opportunity. With a wave of her hand, a powerful gust of wind arose, instantly extinguishing the fire before them. The remnants of what was once a fully enclosed all-weather farm were now visible, along with layers of charred corpses beneath the wreckage of the dome. That should suffice. Any more, and the corpses will be indistinguishable. The Balawai must see this when they come to strip us of our power. They must understand the vengeance they face. Depabalaba declared coldly. She surveyed the area, where ARC guards in captured winter combat gear were loading vast quantities of food onto a suspended van, also seized from the enemy. Louder, she commanded. Hurry. Reinforcements are on their way. We have 10 minutes. This food will sustain 3 villages. Leave not a gram behind. Karl Vasto watched, a mix of emotions playing across his face as Depabalaba's words echoed in his mind. The perfect light, the ultimate pursuit of the Jedi Order, was perhaps not as unattainable as he had once thought. In the midst of a solemn gathering at Depabalaba, a shield was slammed down with force, emitting a dull metallic roar. Balaba! Hero! Was the cry that echoed through the air, soon joined by the voices of the others, all chanting in unison, Hero! Meanwhile, in the northern warehouse of Pelikbao City, Quinlan Voss was seeking answers. Who is your master? He repeated, his curiosity not yet satisfied. Master Bilaba, Luna Huan responded, taking a moment to rest on a container. But that will change soon. Luna Meng stood quietly behind her sister, her hands clasped over her stomach, her eyes closed as if lost in thought, giving the impression of a silent guardian rather than a participant. Master Depabilaba? I recall hearing rumors that Master Bilaba had taken an apprentice whom she was quite fond of. However, my infrequent returns to the Jedi Order meant that I seldom heard such news. It seems it wasn't just one apprentice, but 2, Quinlan Voss mused, his brow furrowing. You mentioned she will no longer be your master soon? In her dream, she made a choice, Luna Huan said cryptically. Dreaming? Waking up? What exactly do you mean? Quinlan Voss pressed, his interest piqued by Luna Huan's enigmatic statement. You're suggesting Master Balaba has succumbed to the dark side? He deduced, alarmed. In her dream, she faced a choice, Luna Meng clarified softly. Quinlan Voss stood abruptly, his tone sharp with concern. Why didn't you intervene? Surely you had the means. Master is powerful beyond our influence. We cannot dictate her dreams, Luna Meng explained. It was this planet that ensnared her in dreams, Luna Huan added, revealing a deeper mystery. Herenkar itself is lost in a powerful dream. Quinlan Voss, grappling with this revelation, lamented, Now I understand Master Windu's reservations about the Vapad sword technique. Its proximity to the dark side, first Master Sorabalk, and now Master Depabalaba, both practitioners of Vapad, have fallen. I feared being alone in the darkness, but the path Master chose is unrelated to the swordsmanship, Luna Huan interjected. I must relay this to Master Windu immediately, Quinlan Voss resolved. What about you? Is there anything you wish me to convey on your behalf? Luna Huan declined. Our task was to eliminate Lords Gupton. With that accomplished, we plan to depart. Our mission here is complete, Luna Meng affirmed, her tone final. Quinlan Voss protested. Complete? Hardly. The conflict between the smugglers and the indigenous people won't end with Gupton's demise, and your master remains here. Our mission is concluded, Luna Meng reiterated calmly. This planet's dream has lost its allure, Luna Huan declared, a hint of disappointment in her voice. Quinlan Voss, still striving to understand, questioned, "But didn't you say you were drawn to dreams? How can you turn away now?" "The dream of Harankar is too potent," Luna Meng explained. "We are not strong enough to confront it." Luna Han added seriously, "If you can dream, you can also awaken." Quinlan Voss, attempting to grasp the full extent of their abilities, remarked, "You've managed to outmaneuver and defeat not only the Karuk brothers, known for their formidable swordsmanship, but also me, making it seem effortless." Luna Han responded with a mix of arrogance and clarity, "That's because you underestimate your own strength, or lack thereof. We cannot allow him to be ensnared by dreams," Luna Meng said, her thoughts drifting to Anakin. "Thus, we resort to illusions to distract him." Quinlan Voss, taken aback by their openness, began to question further, but was stopped by Luna Meng's indifferent gaze, a silent reminder of the mysteries that lay beyond his understanding. Luna Huan stood up, brushing the dust off her dress with a determined gesture. "Let's go. It's time to confront Lord Gupton and destroy that." "What did you call it?" "Organic resonator," Luna Meng corrected gently. Right, Luna Han replied with a wave of her hand, signaling her impatience. She turned and began to walk away, her steps resolute. Luna Meng offered Quinlan Voss a polite bow before following her sister. Quinlan Voss watched the sisters leave, a mix of respect and apprehension in his gaze. Having been a spy for over a decade, even succumbing to the dark side in the process, he had faced numerous formidable foes. Yet, it was the Dream Sisters he found most daunting. "Wait," he called out abruptly. The sisters paused, turning to face him with raised eyebrows. He managed a strained smile. "Your illusions could be of great use. Could you assist me in covering up the aftermath here? Karlach and Vinok are dead, and I must ensure Count Dooku doesn't suspect me. In return, I'll aid you in taking down Colonel Lords Gupton and dismantling the organic resonator." Quinlan hoped to turn a potential enemy into an ally with this proposition. "General Ling, what's the status on your end?" Tang Xiao inquired, his image flickering in the holographic projection within the command center of the Glory, the flagship of his fleet. General Ling Long, a figure of authority and determination, saluted crisply before responding. "The 20th Army of the Galactic Republic has launched 7 probing attacks against our Aganev-class interstellar base, attempting to gauge our firepower." "And the Jedi presence?" Tang Xiao pressed. "We've identified Master Sha Kong and her apprentice as the Jedi operatives," Ling Liang reported. Tang Xiao pondered momentarily. The name Sha Kong didn't ring any bells, suggesting she was a new variable in his increasingly complex situation. Facing a Jedi Knight is a significant challenge. Remember, the Force grants the Jedi their power, but knowledge and preparation can counteract their advantages. "I've studied numerous Jedi engagements, starting from the Battle of Malastar Fjord 14 years ago. I'm confident in my understanding of their capabilities and will continue to refine my strategies. The Jedi will soon find themselves outmatched," Ling Liang declared with confidence. Tang Xiao nodded in approval. "The 20th Army, led by Octavian Grant, lacks the resources for a full assault on Jaeger Dur. Their continued probing indicates they're seeking intelligence on our operations. It's crucial that the Republic remains unaware of the Ankalong project. Master Green Beatty is overseeing the Ankalong project personally. She will ensure Sha Kong's efforts are in vain," Ling Liang assured. "Thank you," Tang Xiao said, ending the communication. He then stood, walking over to a vast holographic star map, displaying the galaxy's current state of conflict. The strategic movements of the Confederation of Independent Systems were clearly marked, highlighting the areas where battles raged. This offensive, a joint scheme by Darth Sidious and Count Dooku, was meticulously planned. While Sidious aimed to weaken both the corporate giants and the Galactic Republic, General Grievous, a master strategist, was tasked with its execution. The plan's success was critical, not just for their immediate goals, but for the broader strategy of ensuring the Republic's eventual downfall. The central attack plan he proposed can be succinctly summarized in 3 words: swift, precise, and merciless. Upon the execution of this strategic plan, the Galactic Republic's stronghold in the Central Star region will endure a devastating impact. Consequently, the entirety of the southern quadrant of the Milky Way, as depicted on the flat star map, will slip from the grasp of the Galactic Republic. Vol. 2, Chapter 878, Strategic Layout. General Grievous had devised a comprehensive strategy. The plan involved the Interstellar Banking Association and the Fourth Group's fleet launching an offensive against the Galactic Republic fleet that was blockading the planets of Makido and Murinster. With a significant number of Behemoth-class battlecruisers at their disposal, the combined forces were well equipped for the task. Their next target would be the capital of the Galactic Republic's Eighth Army, the planet Odormantle. Given the Eighth Army's current preoccupation with the Geth situation, Odormantle was unlikely to withstand the assault for long. The challenge lay in executing a deception that would prevent the Galactic Republic from discerning the connection between the Geths and Dawn Planet. The Republic could not afford to ignore any threat to the Eighth Army, especially with the involvement of the Geths and the Interstellar Banking Association. These entities represented significant threats that the Republic was determined to contain. Simultaneously, Dawn Planet, bolstered by the support of the Blade Fleet, was poised to attack Eliadu, the capital of the Republic's 18th Army, located in the galaxy's western sector. Under normal circumstances, the Republic would not be concerned about Eliadu's security. However, the current situation was different. With the Blade Fleet's assistance, Dawn Planet had become a formidable threat to Eliadu, a crucial planet in the galaxy's westernmost region. Capturing Eliadu would deal a severe blow to the Galactic Republic, resulting in the loss of control over the Western War Zone. Faced with threats on multiple fronts, the Republic had decided to deploy its newly commissioned warships to defend Eliadu, preparing for a decisive battle against the Blade Fleet and the forces from Dawn Planet. General Grievous, leading the main fleet of the Confederation of Independent Systems, was set to launch a third assault on the planet Antar. Unlike the previous tentative attacks, Grievous was determined to secure victory this time. Antar, a gas giant with 6 satellites, boasted 2 habitable moons, Antar 4 and 5, which supported a thriving industry and were rich in rare ores. Crucially, Antar was the closest planet to the Galactic Republic's core that the Confederation could attack directly. Capturing Antar would force the Republic to redirect its defensive efforts towards Daron Planet and secure the transportation hub in the southern Inner Ring Star region, leaving the entire southern border vulnerable. This strategic move would enable the Confederation's fleet to easily overpower the 4 legions stationed in the southern theater. The 15th, 17th, 18th, 14th, and 13th troops, effectively gaining control over the entire southern region from the middle ring to the outer ring. The 15th and 17th Corps, already weakened by previous offensives led by General Grievous, had their territories breached by the Confederate fleet. The ongoing battle to reinforce the 18th Corps had depleted their resources. Moreover, with the 20th Army entangled with the Jiwan people on Jagdur, the fate of the 18th Army, besieged on Eliadu by the Blade Fleet, remained uncertain. The 13th Army, primarily stationed in Hutt space, had suffered significant losses in the Battle of Christopher Sis Planet. The ensuing chaos from the full-scale conflict between the 2 Hutt factions further complicated the Republic's strategic position. In the midst of the galactic turmoil, the legion with the broadest jurisdiction among the 20 legions struggled merely to prevent its capital from falling into enemy hands. The 14th Army, however, faced the most dire circumstances. Its capital planet, Rylos, had been aggressively targeted by the Technology Alliance, with its forces, led by Walter Tamber, advancing all the way to the capital city, Lissu. However, a daring counterattack by the Republic, spearheaded by Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, penetrated the Confederate base camp, capturing Walter Tamber and breaking the siege on Rylos. This conflict occurred during the Fourth Civilization's assault on Terminus. Despite this temporary victory for the Republic, the 14th Army's situation remained precarious, having nearly lost all control over its territory. Walter Tamber later managed to escape with the assistance of a traitor. Now, as part of General Grievous's strategic plan, Tamber has returned, leading a formidable droid army in a renewed offensive. Amidst the uncertainty in various sectors, the Supreme Strategic Command of the Republic held a grim outlook for the 14th Army's future, anticipating it to be the next to fall after the 19th Corps. They braced for its potential defeat. Concurrently, the Confederation of Independent Systems, in collaboration with the Quarren Isolation Alliance, aimed to seize control of Mon Calamari, a planet renowned for its advanced shipbuilding capabilities, without resorting to conflict. This maneuver was part of a broader scheme to destabilize the Republic. The 16th Army of the Republic, tasked with guarding the southern Inner Ring Star region and serving as a key transportation nexus, was notably absent from these plans due to its strategic positioning and the logistical challenges of extending the conflict to its domain. General Grievous's focus was primarily on the Central Star region, orchestrating a meticulously planned and lethal strategy that exploited the Republic's vulnerabilities. The execution of this grand strategy was already underway. Tang Xiao had received orders from General Grievous to attack the planet Eliadu, headquarters of the 18th Army of the Republic, within a month. This timing coincided perfectly with Bangira Ulan, leader of Lundili Interstellar Dynamics, promising to supply the necessary parts for a Dreadnought-class heavy cruiser to maintain the Blade Fleet. After accounting for the time difference, the Fourth Civilization had less than 8 days to refurbish the fleet and initiate the assault. This left no room for deploying the Blade Fleet elsewhere, setting the stage for a direct confrontation with the Republic on Eliadu. Tang Xiao was convinced that Darth Sidious and Count Dooku had a hand in orchestrating this plan, aligning with the Fourth Civilization's strategic objectives to trade the Blade Fleet for control of Eliadu. Meanwhile, the main fleet of the Confederation of Independent Systems was amassing near the planet Antar, and the Technology Alliance's forces had reached Geonosis, situated merely 7 seconds from Rylos. Additionally, a fleet of Behemoth-class battlecruisers, a collaborative effort between Tyron Heavy Industries, a subsidiary of the Fourth Group, and the Interstellar Banking Association, had stealthily departed from Onderon. This fleet was expected to covertly reach its destination, further escalating the galactic conflict. After 15 days of preparation, the Confederation of Independent Systems, backed by the major supercorporate giants, is ready to launch a thunderous attack on Austria, followed by a raid on the planet Masito a month later. This marks a critical moment not only for the Galactic Republic, but also for the Confederation of Independent Galaxies and the Fourth Civilization. Lord Governor, our mission on the planet Harankar is complete, Luna Huan reported through the holographic projection. Excellent. I trust you found the experience enjoyable? Darth Marthale inquired with a hint of indifference. More enjoyable than ever, Luna Han replied, her smile radiant. As expected, operations under the governor's command are the most thrilling. So, Depa Baraba has succumbed to the dark side, has she? Darth Marthale probed further. Indeed, she has. Yet she remains loyal to the Jedi Order and the Republic. Your Excellency the Governor, Luna Meng interjected, appearing in the projection. She bowed respectfully, her hands clasped in front of her. Darth Marthale's lips curled into a slight smile. Her loyalty to the Jedi Order and the Republic does not conflict with my objectives. It's time for you to leave Harankar as well. I advise against getting involved in the next phase. We wouldn't want to draw unnecessary attention, especially from Master Mace Windu. Oh, are you planning to confront Master Windu? That won't be easy, Luna Huan exclaimed, realization dawning upon her. Why not try? Darth Marthale countered. We encountered Quinlan Voss, Luna Meng mentioned. He's a spy for the Jedi Order. Keep him close and assist him if necessary. He could prove to be very useful, Darth Marthale responded, unsurprised. The Governor-General truly knows all, Luna Huan remarked with a smile. Return to your duties. You've done well, Darth Marthale dismissed them with a wave of his hand. The Dream Sisters, holding hands and lifting their skirts, gave a ladylike salute before ending the communication. Master Windu, Darth Marthale mused, glancing at the gauntlet on his wrist. It's time for me to take action. He pressed a button on his communicator, summoning a holographic projection of a heroic female Chiss in a White Admiral's uniform. Her sea-blue skin, bright red pupils, and long dark hair gave her an exotic beauty. She was Admiral Severance Tan, commander of the Fourth Civilization Fleet B. Upon seeing Darth Marthael, Severance Tan's usually cold and arrogant demeanor softened momentarily before she composed herself, kneeling on one knee. "What are your orders, my lord?" "General Grievous has tasked us with launching an attack on the planet Eliadu within a month, meaning we have at most 35 days to execute our plan. Can you do it?" Darth Marthael inquired coldly. 35 days, Severance Tan repeated, her expression serious. "If the timetable provided by Lundili is accurate, the necessary parts will arrive at Glenson in 27 days. In the remaining 8 days, we can refurbish at most 130 Dreadnought-class heavy cruisers. The rest have sustained severe damage and will require more time for repairs." She paused, then suggested, "Therefore, my recommendation is to attack immediately." "Attack immediately?" Darth Marthael was taken aback by the bold strategy. "How many warships are currently at your disposal?" 35 dreadnoughts, Severance Tan confirmed. "Although I have the utmost confidence in your command abilities, an assault with only 35 dreadnoughts would barely make an impact on the defenses of planet Eliadu," Darth Marthael pointed out. The Dream Sisters, having previously ended their communication, had left Darth Marthael to ponder his next move. "Master Windu," he mused, contemplating his strategy as he gazed at the gauntlet on his wrist. "It's time for me to take direct action." He pressed a button on his communicator, ready to set his plan into motion. The holographic projection displayed a formidable figure, Admiral Severance Tan, a heroic female Chiss in a pristine white admiral's uniform. Her sea-blue skin, bright red pupils, and long dark hair gave her an exotic and beautiful appearance. As the commander of the Fourth Civilization Fleet B, she held a position of great authority and respect. Upon seeing Darth Marthael, a slight flush appeared on her otherwise cold and arrogant face, though she quickly suppressed it. With a deep and respectful tone, she knelt on one knee and said, "What are your orders, my lord?" "General Grievous has tasked us with launching an attack on planet Eliadu within a month. That means we have at most 35 days to execute our plan. Can you do it?" Darth Marthael inquired, his voice cold and demanding. 35 days, Severance Tan repeated, her serious expression unchanging. "If the timetable provided by Lundili is adhered to, the parts we require will arrive at Glenson in 27 days. In the remaining 8 days, we can, at most, refurbish 130 Dreadnought-class heavy cruisers. Unfortunately, the majority of our fleet has sustained severe damage and will require more time for repairs." She paused, giving Darth Marthael a meaningful look before adding, "Therefore, my suggestion is to attack immediately." "Attack immediately?" Darth Marthael was visibly surprised by the suggestion. "How many warships do you have at your disposal?" "Now." 35 dreadnoughts, Severance Tan replied. Darth Marthael expressed his concern. "While I have the utmost confidence in your command abilities, even under your leadership, 35 dreadnoughts would barely make an impact against the defenses of planet Eliadu." Attachment 1 of the Easter egg chapter, Central Raiders Plan. The map includes locations such as Antar A, Odermantel, Eliadu E, and Rylos R. Additionally, the distribution of the Republic's 20 legions can also be seen on this map. Note, the original URL and site references have been omitted for narrative coherence and to maintain focus on the story's content. Vol 2, Chapter 879, The Battle of Maratha. On March 7, 21 BBY, Admiral Severance Tan, the commander of the Fourth Civilization's B Fleet, embarked on a covert mission with 35 Dreadnought-class heavy cruisers. The operation was shrouded in secrecy, thanks to the extensive efforts of the Fourth Civilization's intelligence department. They went as far as deploying a T-850 robot, an exact replica of Severance Tan, to frequent the naval station, thus diverting attention. Additionally, they orchestrated a series of deceptive maneuvers, including the manipulation of hyperspace fluctuations and the closure of the shipyard housing the Blade Fleet under the guise of extensive renovations. This ensured that the fleet's departure went unnoticed. In a parallel strategy, Mrs. M of the Intelligence Department disseminated a plethora of false information. This included feints suggesting imminent attacks on various locations, thereby spreading the enemy's forces thin. One such ruse hinted at an impending assault on the planet Egypt, drawing the attention of General Grievous and prompting an immediate response from Governor Wilhoff Tarkin of the 18th Army. Tarkin, sensing the heightened threat level, escalated the readiness of his forces. Amidst this backdrop, Gabriel Tosh and the Solarian Special Forces intensified their covert operations within the 18th Army's jurisdiction, leading to the assassination of over 200 officers and officials within a month. The escalating crisis forced Tarkin to reluctantly seek assistance from the Jedi Order and impose martial law, tightening security across the board. In response to the dire situation, the Republic's Supreme Strategic Command decided to deploy the Bosa people, a race renowned for their intelligence and cunning and long serving as the backbone of the Republic's intelligence efforts. Accompanied by 4 Jedi Knights, 800 Bosa intelligence officers were dispatched to Eliadu to counteract the threats posed by the planet Dawn. Their efforts significantly bolstered the 18th Army's security, leveraging the Jedi's foresight and combat prowess to scrutinize and secure potential vulnerabilities. Despite these reinforced measures, Tosh and his team managed to execute 2 successful operations, eliminating 4 civilian officials. However, Severance Tan's primary objective was elsewhere. On March 12th, Tan's fleet made a sudden and unanticipated incursion into the Malastare system, swiftly imposing a blockade in the Malastare Fjord. This preemptive strike caught the Republic's fleet of 8 Chaser-class battlecruisers stationed on Eliadu completely off guard. Unprepared and outmatched, the Chaser-class cruisers were decimated by the dreadnought's opening salvo. The strategic significance of Maratha, and by extension the Malastare system, cannot be overstated. The region is known for its unique electromagnetic nebula, which complicates hyperspace travel, funneling ships through the narrow Malastare Fjord. This geographical bottleneck had been the site of numerous skirmishes between the Enterprise Alliance and the Republic's judicial fleet over a decade ago, making it a critical point of contention once more in the unfolding conflict. The battle that unfolded here marked the first engagement of the Fourth Civilization's Navy in combat. The unique terrain of the area enabled Severance Tan to execute a surprise attack, taking advantage of the predictable movement of the Republic fleet as it navigated through the region. Severance Tan's strategic brilliance left the Republic fleet's commander with no opportunity to counteract. By disrupting the enemy's formation, Tan managed to isolate and systematically destroy 8 Chaser-class battlecruisers. In response to the unfolding crisis, the local defense fleet from the planet Maratha was hastily summoned for reinforcement. However, their efforts were in vain as Severance Tan cleverly allocated a portion of his battleships to intercept them, leading to their destruction as well. Following this tactical victory, Commander Justin Reeves of the 4th Corps, alongside 3,000 4th Corps soldiers and 7,000 Army soldiers, commenced a ground invasion on the planet Maratha. They landed in the capital, Pixelito, deploying 500 ATXT walkers as their primary assault force. They engaged the Marathal Home Defense Force on the southern plains of the continent. The rapid progression of these events caught the Supreme Strategic Command of the Republic, as well as the 18th and 17th Armies, off guard, leaving them no time to react. An urgent plea for help was dispatched from the planet Malastare, warning that without immediate reinforcement, Pixel City, the planet's capital, could fall within a month. In response, the Supreme Strategic Command swiftly mobilized troops in collaboration with the Jedi Order. Jedi Master Kepu Shi, renowned for his decisive victory over Admiral Trench of the Enterprise Alliance fleet at the Battle of Malastare Fjord, was chosen to lead the relief effort. Meanwhile, Admiral Severance Tan of the Fourth Civilization held a clandestine meeting with the political leaders of the Grands on Malastare. The details of their discussion remain a mystery, but it did not seem to quell the resistance of the Grand people on the planet. Intriguingly, the political leader of the Dug people also engaged in secret talks with Severance Tan shortly thereafter. Malastare is home to 2 primary races, the Dags, who constitute about 54% of the population and are the indigenous inhabitants, and the Grands, who make up about 44% and settled on the planet around 1,000 years ago. Despite being newcomers, the Grands quickly established their dominance, leveraging their early development and influence within the Galactic Republic Parliament to suppress the DAG people's resistance through subtle means. Currently, the Counselor Representative of Maratha, Tim, and his team are predominantly Grands. This has fueled resentment among the DAG people towards the Galactic Republic. Meanwhile, the Grands find themselves in a precarious position, as their home planet, Gold Rock, is a minor ally of the Dawn planet and has played a significant role in the Blade Fleet's battles. This complex web of alliances, resistance, and interstellar politics sets the stage for a conflict that could reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. Vol 2, Chapter 880, The Terrible Visitor. As the war on the planet Malastar erupted suddenly, the planet Harankar descended into chaos. A new faction, the Highland Liberation Front, emerged out of nowhere, launching attacks on the smugglers' outposts despite the harsh winter. Pelekbau, the capital of Harankar, is a sprawling city heavily reliant on the resources from its surroundings, including agriculture, food processing, mineral mining, and trade. The Highland Liberation Front's attacks on these peripheral facilities were merciless, leaving no survivors in their wake. Despite the smugglers' fortified defenses, they were systematically dismantled by the front. The situation worsened when internal strife broke out in Pelekbau. The spaceport was bombed, disrupting the city's external trade. In response, the smugglers' leader, Colonel Lords Gupton, ordered a citywide blockade, severing Pelekbau's connections with the outside world. This only intensified the Highland Liberation Front's assaults, resulting in the destruction of 7 farms and strongholds, inflicting significant losses on the smugglers. Amidst this chaos, 3 Dark Jedi advisors from the Confederacy of Independent Systems were ambushed while pursuing a suspected Jedi assailant on Harankar. Brothers Karlok and Vinuk were killed instantly, and Quinlan Voss was left injured and defeated. Following this, the Pelekbau City Administration Hall was raided by a Jedi Knight, resulting in Colonel Lords Gupton's death and the destruction of the organic resonator, a secret weapon he had prepared for the Karunai. The only silver lining was Quinlan Voss's valiant stand against the powerful Jedi, managing to repel the attacker with the help of the garrison despite his injuries. However, the smugglers' leadership was decimated, plunging Harankar into further disarray. In the aftermath, Quinlan Voss proposed to Count Dooku that they find and covertly support another smuggling gang sympathetic to the Confederacy of Independent Systems, aiming to cultivate a new leader like Colonel Gupton. However, after assessing the situation on Harankar, Count Dooku concluded that the planet was beyond their control. Information from the Jedi Order suggested that the Jedi Knight on Harankar was likely Master Depa Bilaba, a formidable swordsman even Dooku was wary of confronting. Deciding that intervention would be futile, Dooku chose to cut his losses. He instructed Quinlan Voss to facilitate the evacuation of the Confederacy's advisors and technicians from Harankar and sent a symbolic last shipment of robots and weapons to Pelekbau before abandoning the planet entirely. Unbeknownst to many, aboard the evacuation spacecraft, a hidden threat lurked. Darth Marthael sat in a corner of the cabin, cloaked in black, with Darth Lilim standing silently behind him. Despite their conspicuous attire, they went unnoticed, as if invisible to those around them. After the spacecraft landed on a relatively flat area of Harankar, the true extent of their sinister presence would soon be revealed, marking the beginning of a new and terrifying chapter for the planet. In the bustling city of Pelekbau, local smugglers were busy organizing personnel to transport materials. Meanwhile, passengers began disembarking from the spacecraft. Darth Marthael remained seated, motionless except for a casual hand gesture. In response, Darth Lilim approached with utmost respect, placing 4 drinks on the table before taking one and sipping it gently. Outside, Quinlan Voss was in a flurry, urging consultants and technicians to board the ship swiftly. The atmosphere's fungal spores threatened to corrode the spacecraft's exterior, making time of the essence. However, as he glanced towards the cabin, a wave of terror washed over him. The cabin door, in his eyes, transformed into a gaping maw reeking of blood, a direct, unmistakable harbinger of death. "Why are you hesitating? Fool!" Lunahan's voice pierced the tense air. She and her sister Lunameng blended into the crowd, each carrying a small, delicate piece of luggage. Their appearance suggested tourists rather than conspirators aiming to overthrow the leadership of Pelek Bao City. Quinlan Voss, with a grave expression, faced the hatch. "Don't tell me you didn't sense that," he said. "That's precisely why you should go and greet them," Lunahan replied, as if it were the most natural course of action. "You? Could it be? No, that's impossible." Quinlan Voss began to question their loyalty, but the pure light-side force within them, contrasted with the dark, deathly aura emanating from the cabin, dispelled his doubts. "He won't kill you," Luna Meng assured him softly, leading the way into the cabin with her sister. After a moment of hesitation, Quinlan Voss steeled himself and followed them inside. The repetition and the website promotion have been removed for a cleaner, more focused narrative. This version enhances the original text by correcting grammatical errors, improving sentence structure for better readability, and providing clearer imagery. It also ensures that character actions and dialogues are consistent and logical, removing redundant phrases and clarifying ambiguous parts of the narrative. Vol 2, Chapter 881, Planning Destiny. Relationship? Darth Marthael asked with a light smile. "I am their mentor, friend, and leader. That's all." "That's all?" Quinlan Voss's face darkened. "Do you realize what you're implying? It means that perhaps the most talented young apprentice in the Jedi Order has turned traitor." "I'm deeply offended by your accusation, you fool. What do you mean by traitor?" Luna Huan retorted, visibly agitated, ready to leap up in protest, but she was calmed by a simple gesture from Darth Marthael. "Have the Dream Sisters succumbed to the dark side, or have they committed any acts against the Jedi Order? Enlighten me," Darth Marthael challenged. Quinlan Voss found himself at a loss for words. He had observed that the Dream Sisters' connection to the Force was stable, peaceful, and exceptionally pure. Their essence didn't align with the dark side. Yet their close association with a Sith Lord, especially one as dark as Darth Marthael, filled him with dread. He realized that he had been so focused on the sisters' formidable abilities and Lunahan's unpredictable behavior that he overlooked their consistent alignment with the light. They are in the light, yet their actions don't seem to reflect it. Can such a paradox truly exist within the Force? Quinlan Voss pondered, his expression growing grim. "What are your intentions with the Dream Sisters? What business do you have in Harinkar?" Quinlan Voss demanded, his tone laced with suspicion. "You're not in a position to demand answers from me. However, I will indulge your curiosity. My visit to Harinkar is primarily to seek out Master Depa Billaba," Darth Marthael revealed. "Master Depa Billaba has fallen to the dark side. You wish to recruit her? If that's the case, I'd rather end her life myself," Quinlan Voss exclaimed, his face contorted with anger. "Consider the top 5 swordsmen of the Jedi Order, Master Yoda, Mace Windu, Sora Bulk, Depa Billaba, and Dooku," Darth Marthael stated calmly. "Having someone of such caliber on my side would be invaluable. However, although Depa Billaba has embraced the darkness, she hasn't forsaken the light. My purpose here is to save her life, and in doing so, give her a chance to shape her own destiny." "You overestimate yourself, Angel of Death. You may think you can control everything, but you'll soon realize that's far from the truth," Quinlan Voss retorted coldly. "Moving on to your second question," Darth Marthael continued, unfazed by Quinlan Voss's hostility. "I harbor no schemes against the Dream Sisters. Our relationship is based on mutual understanding. You're aware of the ancient prophecy." "The Chosen One will bring balance to the Force," Quinlan Voss interjected, his voice deep. "Exactly. The balance of the Force will signify the end of both the Jedi Order and the Sith. However, light and darkness are eternal. The Dream Sisters represent the future of the Jedi Order," Darth Marthael explained slowly. "What are you trying to say?" Quinlan Voss's expression grew increasingly troubled. "Depa Billaba has foreseen this future and understands the connection between the Dream Sisters and me. But that's irrelevant. What matters is that she knows, and I want you to assist them," Darth Marthael said, taking another sip of his black tea. Luna Huan scoffed. "Humph, this fool can't help with anything. On the contrary, there are many ways he can be of assistance. Sometimes, strength alone cannot solve all problems, as your former master Depa Billaba is currently demonstrating," Darth Marthael countered. Luna Huan remained visibly displeased, already concocting various schemes to mock Quinlan Voss. "Why should I listen to you? Quinlan Vos snapped, equally frustrated. 2 reasons. First, there are 2 Sith Lords, myself included, and another. Contrary to popular belief, Dooku is not a Sith Lord, as the Sith way does not acknowledge him, Darth Marthil said with a sneer. The other Sith Lord is in Coruscant, he revealed, causing Quinlan Vos's face to pale in shock. What did you say? The second reason, Darth Marthil continued, is that Count Dooku is aware of your role as a spy for the Jedi Order. However, he believes that the dark side can influence your mind and decisions. Darth Marthil gently spun the teacup on the ground, his movements deliberate and calm. This is what I offer you, Quinlan Vos. My continued assistance in the days ahead, he stated, observing Quinlan Vos, who was deep in thought. A light smile played on his lips as he added, very good. You're not asking, why should I believe you? Such questions are foolish. It shows you're intelligent, knowing what to trust and what to question. Why isn't Count Dooku considered a Lord of the Sith? Quinlan Vos inquired, breaking the silence. Because his name is not recorded in the Book of Sith, Darth Marthil replied, his tone unwavering. And who is the Sith Lord of Coruscant? At this moment, you lack the qualifications to know. Even if you were informed, you could do nothing but hasten your own destruction. What is your purpose? My plans encompass both the darkness and the light. Maintaining balance is my means of survival. But in you, I perceive only an unfathomable darkness. What you see is insufficient. Everything may seem deceptive until you truly reach the pinnacle. Darth Marthil's gaze fixed on Quinlan Vos, who fell into contemplation once more. You are not yet ready to ponder these matters. Focus on the tasks at hand. At your level, at least, the Force will not mislead the weak. Quinlan Vos was taken aback, a chill running down his spine, leaving him with a sense of numbness. When he looked up, he found only an empty table before him, the cup of black tea now cold. Darth Marthil, the enigmatic figure, had vanished. Unbeknownst to him, the Dream Sisters had taken a seat at a table by the window. Luna Meng sat with her eyes closed, headphones on, while Luna Huan lay in front of the window, gazing curiously at the scene outside. Despite the brief encounter with Darth Marthil, Quinlan Vos felt as if his understanding of the world had been profoundly challenged. Was this the true power of a Sith Lord beyond even Count Dooku's reach? And what did his presence in Harankar signify? After much deliberation, Quinlan Vos decided to send an encrypted message to Master Windu through a concealed transmitter, alerting him to the presence of this Angel of Death in Harankar. Vol 2, Chapter 882, Dream of the Planet, Part 1. Master Windu placed the communicator down, his expression grave. The message was succinct, yet its brevity belied the gravity of its content. The Angel of Death, that enigmatic Sith Lord, remained a mystery in his plans, whereabouts, and purpose. His existence was marked by manipulation of seemingly unrelated events, concealing his true intentions beneath a pile of misleading clues. The Jedi Order had long been studying the Death Angel, and his appearances always heralded calamity. Master Evan Peel, Master Adi Gallia, Master Ithkos. His hands were stained with the blood of these Jedi Knights, marking his involvement in significant losses to the Republic. The last known incident involving the Death Angel was his attack with the Titan battleship Plague, which resulted in severe losses for the Republic and the theft of the Blades fleet. Now, it seemed he had returned to Harankar, possibly targeting Depa Billaba. Master Windu's face hardened, his anger rising uncontrollably. Shenjan, his apprentice, had been killed, and now Depa Billaba was framed. Death Angel, you've taken Shenjan, and now you target Depa Billaba. No matter your purpose or what you've mastered, this time you will face the light's judgment. As the hyperspace view vanished, the yellow-green planet of Harankar came into view. Master Windu pressed a button, detaching the Delta-7 fighter jet from its hyperspace ring and steering it towards the planet. The fighter landed smoothly in the city of Pelek Bao. Before disembarking, Master Windu activated a holographic projection, revealing a message. You shouldn't have sent me here. Harankar, you've ensnared me in a dream, shown me reality, and trapped me here, a hoarse voice said, barely recognizable as Depa Billaba's. 3 days prior, upon receiving this message, Master Windu had immediately set off for Harankar, leaving Coruscant behind. A tip from Quinlan Vos later confirmed his fears. Depa Billaba had succumbed to the dark side, and he was advised to facilitate the Dream Sisters' escape to avoid further danger. The situation was dire. The holographic projection shook violently, filled with screams and pleas. A massacre was unfolding. But who were the victims? The footage showed Depa Billaba on the run, the hum of her lightsaber, and the sound of flesh being severed audible. With the Force's aid, Master Windu saw clearly that Depa Billaba, alongside a group of clone troopers, and the Kurunai, his own people, were the perpetrators. "You've shown me the truth," Depa Billaba's voice echoed once more. "In Harinkar, I've been living a nightmare. The killing and hatred haunted me, keeping me awake. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the Kurunai slaughtered. But it only strengthened my resolve. I once argued for an orbital bombardment of the Geonosian planet at the war's outset to eliminate any chance of conflict. But the Jedi Order's indecision prevented it. The war erupted. Lives were lost. Shouldn't the Jedi Order bear the blame? Did sacrificing 179 Jedi Knights in battle plans truly justify the Order's relentless adherence to their principles? On the planet Harinkar, I witnessed the revelation. This planet is ensnared in a dream, and within that dream, I beheld everything. It was there, amidst visions, that I made my decision. The footage began to transition, seemingly edited for effect. When Depa Billaba's voice emerged once more, it had grown raspier, as though her throat was filled with sand. Today, the dream is of slaughter, and so is the reality. In my dreams, I am the executioner, and in reality, Nairobi's village fell to the Balawai, a ceaseless massacre. The scene shifted to display a village engulfed in flames. The bodies of the Kurunai were heaped beneath a central tree and set ablaze, encircled by steel poles adorned with the severed heads of these victims. Among them was the body of an unborn child, a sight that was particularly harrowing. Crimes that commence with murder must conclude with it. Carl Vasto and I will confront another Balawai stronghold. An eye for an eye. I am aware that you will find your way here eventually, Master. My feelings towards you are complex. I harbor respect and love, yet also resentment and blame. I am uncertain of how to face you, but my resolve is clear. This decades-long conflict must be brought to an end. Depa Billaba's voice broke, betraying her inner turmoil, before dropping to a whisper. With the blood of the Balawai, let us end this. With a click, Mace Windu deactivated the projection. He had viewed this recording no fewer than 20 times during his journey, and each viewing renewed the ache in his heart. It had been 35 years since his last visit to his homeland. Back then, he had represented the Jedi Order in an attempt to mediate the dispute between the Balawais and the Kurunai, but to no avail. To the Galactic Republic, both the Balawais and the Kurunai were considered citizens, deserving of impartial treatment. However, the reality was starkly different. The Kurunai, despite their universal force sensitivity and their refusal to be counted by the Jedi Order or to allow their kin to join the Order, were marginalized. In contrast, the Balawais, who contributed significantly more in taxes, received evident favoritism from Republic members. The mediation was doomed from the start. Thus, the mediation failed, war erupted, and the Republic's forces withdrew. What had transpired on this planet in the intervening 35 years? To what depths had this conflict plunged? Mace Windu alighted from his fighter, his fingers brushing against its hull, dislodging a film of metallic dust. The fungal spores that devoured metals still thrived here, rendering the planet of Harun Kal a veritable hell. Only now, this hell seemed even more desolate and forsaken. Vol 2, Chapter 883, The Dream of the Planet, Middle. What did I see? What did I feel? What did I teach you? The specter of Darth Plagueis lingered, an eerie presence that seemed to pervade the air. With a swift motion, a blood-red lightsaber ignited, slicing through the darkness like a crimson comet, and in an instant the surroundings fell into silence. Darth Marthael abruptly opened his eyes, inhaling deeply. Raising his hand, he summoned a glass of water to his grasp. He swirled the glass gently, his life force purifying the water by eradicating all microorganisms within before he drank it down. The planet Harinkar was shrouded in mystery, a place that fascinated scholars and explorers alike. Its enigmatic nature was attributed to various factors: airborne microorganisms, fungal spores, and chaotic magnetic fields. However, to those attuned to the Force, such as the Jedi Knights, it was believed that the planet itself was alive. Darth Marthael shared this belief, yet he took precautions to cleanse his food of native microbes and spores. The apparition of Darth Plagueis no longer held any sway over him. He had come to understand that it was not the true ghost of Darth Plagueis, but merely a remnant of his will within the Force. His time on Dagobah had seen him overcome this challenge, further strengthening his connection to the dark side of the Force. The journey of mastering the Force was dual in nature. It involved delving into the essence of the Force, as well as understanding one's own essence. These aspects were interdependent, beyond the grasp of mere outsiders. Darth Marthael's mastery had reached such a level that he could perceive the Force differently from others, even from a master like Yoda. Yet, what troubled him now was a dream. It began when he first arrived on Harankar, initially filled with shallow visions of monsters and corpses. Over time, the dreams evolved, revealing faces of those he had slain, deeds he had committed. And now, Darth Plagueis appeared within these visions. Darth Marthael's gaze hardened. The dream of Harankar was a nexus of past, present, and future, where illusions and reality intertwined, revealing the deepest hidden truths. The Dream Sisters had warned him aboard their spaceship about the potent dreams of Harankar, fearing entrapment within them. They chose to depart, unwilling to become part of the planet's dream. Every Force-sensitive individual who visited Harankar was haunted by dreams, forced to confront their innermost fears and uncover the deepest wounds of their soul. Master Mace Windu's impending arrival on Harankar was of no surprise to Darth Marthael. He was aware that Quinlan Vos had informed Windu of his presence. "What, then, is your dream, Mace Windu?" Darth Marthael mused with a sneer as he stepped outside. He had learned from the Dream Sisters about the current state of Pelek Bao City. The Confederation of Independent Galaxies had lost its advisors, and Lord Gepton, its former leader, was dead. The city, now leaderless, was ripe for the taking by powerful smuggling groups eyeing its vast economic potential. Darth Marthael had effortlessly aligned himself with one such group. Presenting the credentials of the fourth group, he made grand promises and distributed a modest sum of money to secure their loyalty. Despite the notorious reputation of the fourth group within the Galactic Republic, their expanding influence made it easy for them to command respect and obedience. Darth Malthael, however, had little interest in leveraging these ruffians for any grand purpose. His association with the smuggling group was merely a means to facilitate easier movement. Through them, he learned of the growing unrest in Pelek Bao City. The Highland Liberation Front's assaults on nearby farms and strongholds had begun to strain the city's supply lines, a situation worsened by the near halt of import and export trade following the destruction of the spaceport. The repair of the spaceport, requiring significant manpower, materials, and the urgent procurement of a new fungal isolation and removal system from the Technology Alliance, represented a substantial financial burden. Under normal circumstances, Colonel Lord Gepton might have unified the city's various smuggling factions to fund this critical project. However, mutual suspicion among these groups now made such cooperation impossible. While gathering this information, Darth Malthael stumbled upon an intriguing development. Meanwhile, Mace Windu was navigating the streets of Pelek Bao City, observing the skirmishes between members of different smuggling gangs. Although both he and Darth Malthael were present in the city and aware of each other's presence, they had not encountered one another. Their mastery of the Force, enabling both heightened perception and concealment, ensured they remained undetected by each other. Dressed in civilian attire for better mobility and to blend in with the galaxy's explorers and smugglers, Master Windu sought to gather intelligence. He frequently heard mentions of the Highland Liberation Front, a name he understood well. The habitable area of planet Harankar was a vast plateau, and its inhabitants, the Koronai people, identified themselves as Highlanders, implying that only they had the right to inhabit these lands. The discussions surrounding the Highland Liberation Front were invariably linked to massacres, destruction, and terror. Upon learning of the recent surge in violence attributed to the Highland Liberation Front, which had resulted in hundreds of deaths and the destruction of numerous strongholds, Mace Windu couldn't help but wonder, "Depa Biraba, is that you?" Suddenly, his thoughts were interrupted by shouts. "It's him! Kill him! A group of armed smugglers charged towards him, clearly intent on attacking Windu. "I'm not the person you're looking for." Windu attempted to use the Force to calm their minds, but to no avail. As one of the assailants opened fire, Windu dodged and shouted, "You've got the wrong person. I'm here on business. Kill him! He is a spy of the Highland Liberation Front." The smugglers continued their assault, undeterred by Windu's protests.